Voila.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Word of Mouth. We're here live in beautiful, historic downtown Birmingham, Alabama on a little rainy Friday.
It's 2026.
It's 2026, and we're here live with none other than the godfather of this city.
One of the coolest people in all of Birmingham.
The man who has a last name as a first, Duquette Johnston.
There he is.
Well, and there's a T. It's Johnston.
Johnston.
Oh.
I slid right past that T. Sorry about that.
It is the most constant thing in my life because I don't enunciate it. I'm always like, my name's Duquette Johnston.
Johnston.
Yeah,
You're not the son of John. You're the stun of John.
I'm the stun.
I understand. My name is Myers. It's spelled M-Y-R-E-S.
Yeah.
And there's one time, maybe two times ever, anyone's actually spelled my name correctly.
The funny thing is,
when I haven't told them how to spell it.
more people leave the T out of Johnston than misspell Duquette.
Really?
That's actually crazy.
That's
right?
surprising to
People
me.
mispronounce Duquette constantly.
Yeah.
Duckett, Duquat. You know, yeah.
Duckett.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy, right?
I mean, in the state that we live in, I imagine there's some people you come across that have difficulties with Q's.
Yeah. It is
Not
what
common
it
out
is.
in the countryside, I imagine, for
Duquette
Q's to be in names.
Duquette is not a common name that people use.
No.
Not in Coleman, Alabama, or something like that.
I don't know. I haven't met any Duquettes there.
No, me either.
My mom likes to go to the monastery there or something or another, but
Cool.
It is kind of awesome. That
wife-
monastery is awesome.
my wife grew up in Coleman.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Where are
didn't
you
know that.
from?
Where am I from? Where was I born?
Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Nashville.
Okay.
I just skipped your question. I was born in Nashville.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Which one?
No,
I'm going to answer the one I want.
I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and then my family immediately moved to Wyoming to like a lot of land up against the Bighorn Mountain Range.
Wow, that's so cool.
And it was crazy. Literally grew up for a while living in tents, getting bathed in a creek.
Wow.
My mother would drive me an hour to violin lessons and then an hour back because she was determined to have us still have culture.
Wow.
Even though they were granolas living off the land. My mom carried a 357 on her hip, shot snakes, cooked everything in a fire. Then they bought a house in town. Then my parents divorced, came to Birmingham, Alabama. So I'd go to school here and then go.
Why did they come to Birmingham, Alabama?
My mom's family was from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So she came back to the South. My dad's family's all from Tennessee, like dating back literally. You can trace my family back to the 1700s in Middle Tennessee. And yeah, so I would go to school here, but then go to Wyoming every summer. So it was like 9 months out of the year here, 3 months out of the year in the mountains of Wyoming. Feral children running around. Like unbelievable childhood, honestly.
That's so cool.
And then I went away to high school in Chattanooga. I got shipped off.
Did you go to Macaulay?
Went to Baylor.
Baylor. Oh, the arch rival.
I was never going.
I did not know you went to Baylor for
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
I was never going to class. I was like, my mom had moved us to Southside, so Highland Park.
Okay. Where'd you go to school at when you were here?
I went to Southminster.
Okay.
And then Pizitz. Well, man, my mother bounced me around. God bless her. But like, I was like at Vestavia East, Southminster, then back and forth. And then she didn't like what they were doing with art, so she sent me back over here. And then when we moved to Highland Park, she would use my grandparents' address for school, but I was never showing up. And I got caught. And she was like, all right, we got to do something different. She didn't like the cookie cutter school system. She did not like the public education. She was like, you were not meant for this.
Amen.
We got to do something differently.
Myers was homeschooled, so he agrees with you.
Yeah, she was just like, yeah, this is not for you. And so I got to actually look at schools.
Yeah.
And I had like some choices. I wanted to go to ASFA, but she didn't want me to go to ASFA, so because she was worried about kids being on drugs.
That's Alabama School of Fine Arts.
Yeah, Alabama School of Fine Arts. So instead, what she did was send me to a prep school where kids had a lot of money that could buy really good drugs.
Definitely drugs.
A lot, right? So it was kind of comical. And ASFA's in a phenomenal school. That's where my wife went. She's an alumni. It's
cool.
But yeah, then I came back here after high school and started my first band, and I've been based here since 1991.
Wow. I mean, I got to be honest, you going to Baylor has got to be one of the more off-brand things about you I've ever learned. I mean, that's like a prep school. Like, I mean, the kids I knew from Baylor, the only kids I've ever known from Baylor went to Sanford with me.
Okay.
And it was like the Sigma Chi's. It was like the
Daddy's
preppy
money,
fraternity
bro.
like vibe. I don't know if that was the vibe when you were there, but
I mean, when I was there, I had hair down to here.
okay.
I went up there because I wanted to play tennis, and they offered music stuff.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting. I dropped out of the tennis program, joined their outdoor program.
Cool.
And during the summer I would do concert promotions here in Birmingham. So when I was 15, I started
Sweet.
promoting punk rock shows out in Inslee
No way.
in the 80s
Wow.
at Tuxedo Junction Ballroom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was an anomaly. I had tattoos in high school,
Oh wow.
but I had a full academic scholarship. I was a dorm proctor. I was in charge of the dorm. But I was definitely danced. I've always danced in a lot of worlds, right? Like, I mean,
Sure.
I was preppy, but I ran with punks.
Sure.
I listened to the Grateful Dead, but I also owned the first Nirvana 7-inch. You know what I mean? Like,
All over the place.
I love people and community. So
Tuxedo Junction was like, it was either the name of a song or a band that was like really popular from Birmingham like forever ago. Does that have anything to do with it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like back in like the 30s. There was a jazz song called Tuxedo Junction.
That's Inslee.
Okay.
Yeah. There's an incredible jazz history in Birmingham that most people don't know about. There's a ton of historical things that have driven culture that have come out of Birmingham, Alabama that most people don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
And certainly not the people that are marketing our city and our state.
Right.
They're missing out on like incredible
I
opportunity.
don't understand it at all.
Like, you know how many hot dog places used to be in Birmingham? Like all of the Greek families that started all the hot dog joints. To me, like there was more hot dog culture in Birmingham than there was Chicago at one point. And I don't know why people did not market Birmingham as a hot dog city.
Yeah.
Right?
That's something that my grandfather talks about a lot. Like they've been here for a really long time, and my on my dad's side, and they grew up in Troy or Spring Hill. Technically, it's like a farming town outside of Troy. And when they went to Montgomery and Birmingham growing up, they would go. I think it was called Chris's in Montgomery, and then there was another place like Gus's, I imagine, in Birmingham.
Gus's, Sneaky Pete's. I mean, all the families.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all connected to all the like meat and three places too. Like, but jazz. Looping back to that, like guys like Cleve Eaton, who was legendary. I used to go. So when we were teenagers, there was a place called Grundy's downtown.
Okay.
And it was in a basement. I can't remember which building. I should pull this up and know it. But it was a jazz club.
No
and
way.
They would let us in underage, but we had to buy 4 Cokes during the night. And they were not cheap. And we're like,
Yeah.
I'm 15. I'm underage.
Sure.
Getting at a jazz club in downtown Birmingham when there was nothing in downtown Birmingham at all. It was a ghost town. And we would watch people like Cleve Eaton, Bo Berry, that's like just played last night at High Dive. Like,
oh yeah,
he's still around and playing. Cleve passed away, but like that's what I grew up watching those guys play jazz.
So cool.
And Cleve played with Count Basie, like all these legends. So and everybody used to play at Tuxedo Junction.
That's so freaking cool. I'm so excited to get into like your perspective on Birmingham later because we've talked to some people. Like, it was cool talking to Kristen about it the other day. She's probably the person who like dated back the furthest in like the history of it all. She was able to talk about it because she did Feast and Forest, because that like in my mind was the earliest that I ever interacted with downtown was Feast and Forest whenever I was in high school. And going pre-2010 and then like 90s, I can't wait to do this. I mean, even like city stages and stuff too. There's like so many
God, dude. I mean,
eras.
I grew up in downtown. Yeah, I'll hold back comment until we get into that. But going back to my 80s on, I was in it.
Huh. That's so cool. Okay, so you go to Baylor, and then what did like life look like? Did you go to college, or what did you do during the college ages?
My wife would say, "No, you did not go to college." I went for 9 weeks. I made
go.
it. I made it.
You made a report card.
Yeah, I maybe did a quarter or something. I don't know what they were called back then, but I didn't know. So when I was like graduating, I got into all these colleges. I didn't know if I wanted to start a band because I had just started my first band at Baylor. Like I put on shows at Baylor. Like I I wanted to book other bands. I wanted our party, I wanted it to be Nirvana and Soul Asylum, and no one wanted it because they didn't know who they were.
Wow.
Wow.
That was before Nevermind came out. I tried to book Nirvana at my high school.
Holy cow.
And instead, the school body voted, and they wanted the Connells, and I was like, okay, boring college band.
That is crazy.
But I got into college. I was like, I don't want to know if I want to go live in the woods and be an outdoor instructor, or if I want to start a band. So I came and started at UAB. I started a band before school even started, and within 9 weeks, I was like, I'm out. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we started. I got a job working in a restaurant. We started just grinding, and I would work all day and rehearse all night.
What kind of music?
Back then, so it was what would become Verbena, but we were called Volume, and it was me and a guy that goes by A.A. Bondi, and some other cats. This guy Carson that's now in Memphis. He owns a bunch of clubs there, and there was a guy Alex Keith. That lineup switched. We brought in this kid, Les Newby, who now Les produces like so many records. Les was at first our guitar player with Carson on drums, and then it evolved. And we were a lot. We had some originals, and then we covered bands like Ride, the Lemonheads. I can't remember all the covers we did. I don't think we did Nirvana. We did a bunch of random stuff, but that band evolved. We became Shallow after Volume. I met a girl named Anne-Marie Griffin. Her sister owned Continental Bakery, and I used to be the guitar tech for her sister's band, which was a band called the Sugar Lalas. So at the time, like what I was doing when I was 18, I started going down to the Nick.
Yeah.
I'm underage, but an older musician introduced me to Pam that owned it. She was like, all right, if you work for me, I can get you into the shows.
Cool.
So I started off as riding around on my mountain bike, putting up posters all over the city
for the shows at the Nick.
So that I could go to for the shows at the Nick, so I could get into the Nick. And if the ABC board came in, I was technically an employee, and I didn't drink.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like a risk to them. They're not getting, I wasn't a drinker. So they're like, yep. And that's how I started meeting people and meeting bands. Giving them our demos as we started to record our first demos as Volume out in Hueytown at a place called Bates Brothers, which is still around. Legendary spot. And there's records that do you know the Will Oldham record, the Palace Brothers record, Viva Las Blues, that was made out there with Steve Albini?
Okay.
Like most people don't know that album was cut out in Hueytown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Will was my upstairs neighbor in Southside.
I do know that place is like the one spot in Birmingham that's legit. Like there's a lot of like new age, or not, I say new age, there's a lot of like modern recording studios in Birmingham.
Yeah.
But that's like one of the only ones that kind of has been like lived in a little bit.
It's stuck around a long time. I'm not sure about the one that's down here, the Sound of Birmingham. Like, I don't know if it still functions, but the studio still exists. If you walk in there, it looks like it's out of the 70s, unless something has changed.
It's called the Sound of Birmingham?
I think that's what it was, or Birmingham Sound. There's Boutwell Studios over in Homewood that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Audio State in Woodlawn has been there for a couple of decades with Dr. Panion.
Yeah, and that's still functioning?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's where our friend Zion recorded his like little EP a few years ago. Yeah. But Bates Brothers is where Redeemer, they cut their last album. And
Out of Bates Brothers?
Yeah.
No way.
And because Kyle Carpenter is like all tied up in that. And,
so Eric and Eugene Bates, I think that's their names. We used to call them the Mullet Brothers. I love those guys. They had these incredible mullets when we recorded there. Mm-hmm. And I had to lock the band out of the studio when we mixed it because everyone dropped a bunch of LSD.
Oh, of course. That's kind of crazy. I do want to talk about this for a second. A.A. Bondi?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is I'm sure it's kind of funny looking back on you and I's friendship throughout the years, because I met Duquette whenever I was probably like 18 years old, whenever he had Club Duquette back in Woodlawn, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I'm sure you told me these stories. I just remember going down to Duquette Club Duquette most Fridays throughout college with my buddies. And it's if you know Duquette, you know he's like, every time he's like an onion, you like peel back another layer, there's like depths of stories in him because of his life. And so I'm sure you've told me you played with him before, but I like have since then forgot he was a part of your music.
Yeah, we started our first band together. Like
And
we were
I love his music that he comes out with, and he doesn't claim Alabama in anything that I've seen. And then I was at Seasick the other day, and I was flicking through, and like one of his records was in there, and it had the "I'm an Alabama artist" sticker on it that Seasick puts on there, and I was like, "A.A. Bondi's from Alabama? I had no idea." And then you just said that so that's kind of crazy.
he went to Mountain Brook.
Wow, of course he did. Yeah.
Well, he's Birmingham. Me, him, Les. There's all kinds of people.
Like he's like, does he live in California? Like I've always just kind of thought of him as like a surf.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's just kind of all over the place.
What kind of music does he make?
Like I would say like surf music. Like
I don't know if I call it that. He's an incredibly talented. He's one of the. Here's the thing, and I don't want to spend a bunch of time on like. That's one thing where I'm like, yeah, I won't spend a bunch of time talking about bands I've been in.
Sure.
I mean, I will, but like, there's certain things. Like one time in an interview, people always want to know why did Verbena break up, and I'm like, that's none of your business.
sure.
Like that was our thing. That was our issue. Our band. That's
Sure.
internal, and it's way in the past, so it doesn't matter. But I have seen that guy do things on the guitar that I've never seen another human do ever in my life.
Yeah. I mean, his music's so good from what I've heard.
The amount of talented songwriters and musicians in Birmingham, Alabama is crazy.
Yeah.
Like it really is. Most people are not aware of how much great music is made here in Birmingham, or the people are based out of Birmingham.
Yeah. It's a hidden gem.
It is a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Keep taking us through. So
Yeah.
you're in
So
the volume,
Where are we?
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the name changes to.
Oh yeah, you passed the
Shadow?
record. You passed the record out at the Nick was where you were at.
Oh yeah, so we that's what I would do. Like I would
Okay.
we made demos, gave those around. I met a guy named Milton who was an older guy, bass player, and I asked Milton if he would produce us. I was kind of interning for him. My job was to like plug in cables at a studio at an apartment. His brother was an NFL player and gave him money to buy outboard gear. He's the first guy I knew that had a studio in an apartment. And he made one of the biggest hits of 1994 in Southside in his apartment. Most of the tracks. He would take like old Ampeg. There's a bass amp where the head, I'm forgetting the name of it, you flip the head up out of the amp, and it's an old tube amp. And he would remove those and switch them to those were his preamps.
Huh.
Wow.
Right? So that was his affordable way of having two preamps. But there was a woman, Dion Ferris. She was originally in Arrested Development.
Okay.
And she had a hit, like one of the biggest hits in 1994 called I Know What You're Doing, Baby. I know what you're doing, baby.
And that was the song.
Yeah. And so Milton, anyways, he records that. I give him our demos, and he's like, man, I think I can record something. So we're trying to figure out recording time. This was when we were evolving into Shallow. We met Emery. Scott and Emery started writing stuff, and we were moving from this more sort of like indie rock thing into like bedroom sort of pop.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be like in early Merge Records, there used to be like these bands that were sort of considered like bedroom pop bands. They were making these records on cassette 8 tracks, and it was like really beautiful. And we needed to record. We were going to play our first show as Shallow. So Les had gone to college. We had a drummer named Louis Schifano who was in a band called Remy Zero, which is Jeffrey Kane. They don't Convest. Like, dude, there's all these threads. There's where everyone's connected. But we were supposed to play our first show at the Nick, opening for Blind Melon. Imagine Blind Melon in the Nick. I mean, the band was huge. So we're supposed to open for them. That's going to be our first show as Shallow. And I mean, our songs, we would play songs for like 8 minutes. We were a shoegaze band. We had evolved from like sort of a little bit of indie rock into this shoegaze thing.
What year is this?
94, maybe 93. No, maybe 93.
Okay.
And I get a phone call from another band that's like, hey, we need to do a showcase for MCA Records that night. That's the only night the A&R guy can be here. Can we switch and be on that bill and do the Blind Melon bill? And I was like, no, you cannot. I'm not. Like, Blind Melon was about to blow up. We wanted to open, even though our music was nowhere near. We were literally drone, like we were a shoegaze band.
Sure.
And then I get a phone call from their manager, a man named Conrad Rayfield, who's now the chairman of the board of Coca-Cola Bottling Company.
Wow.
Whoa.
But Conrad's always been in the entertainment industry too. And he's trying to tell me all this stuff. And I'm like, look, why don't I come to your office and let's talk? So I go, at the time he owned a recording studio called Airwave. And after we met, I ended up negotiating. I was like, look, your band can have the show, but we get to keep the guarantee and we get to come mix, record, and master 3 songs for free.
Wow.
And those songs got us our first record deal.
Wow.
Bang.
That's so cool.
And then Shallow was evolving and changing, and we started getting heavier, but we were touring nonstop. We got a manager that was here in town. We were on the road all the time. And just that slowly evolved, and then it became Verbena, and Verbena, took off.
Yeah.
And then I left the band.
That's so cool. So when you get the record label, what year was that? Was that also like 93 or 94?
Yes. I mean, first we started having label interest right out of the gate we had stuff for Volume out of the gate where people were interested. We played like a thing in Atlanta and some people were interested. Then Shallow, we started having like Polydor Records were interested. My buddy Mark Lipsitz that just passed away last year, unbelievable guy, ran Seed Records, which was part of Atlantic. And he had this band Ivy, which is phenomenal. They just put out a new record for the first time in a long time. You should check out Ivy. Great sort of French pop.
Cool.
Beautiful songs. Their bass player was one of the first people I know that passed away from COVID when it happened.
Wow.
And he wrote that song for the Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do.
Oh, wow.
He wrote that. He wrote all these huge hit songs.
Cool.
But like we would do all these shows with it was crazy what we got tapped into.
Yeah.
So we had label interest from the get-go, and then once we got a manager, though, like we had said no to stuff, it didn't work out. But the guy that managed us, a guy named Kerry Eccles, that used to run a publication here in town called The Black and White, that was a great local publication. And Kerry is a music fanatic. You talk about vinyl collection. The dude literally had rooms at his father's house that were storage for just records.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like it messed up the floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many records in
That's
there. Like
awesome.
the floors like bowed. But Kerry talked us out of signing like the first publishing deal we were offered. And it was like the best decision ever.
Really?
Yep. And then we worked a thing out where we would spend hours talking about the path of just that. It was so insane, like the things that just happened and the doors that opened. I mean, I would work. I'm going to go back in time real quick. I would work. What Scott and I also did. Sorry, A. Bondi, he's Scott. We would work all the concerts that came through town. So UAB used to have a promotion company would book shows. The Pixies played at UAB. Dinosaur Jr. played at UAB. My Lady Valentine played at UAB. Like all these bands. So Ride, Pale Saints, like on and on and on. And I mean, Ride, the bass player from Ride's the bass player in Oasis.
Wow.
And so we would work at those shows as loaders
Yeah.
to help load gear, and I would give the bands our demos.
Huh.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's how I would network with bands. And years later, those were all the bands that came to see us play in England.
Wow.
We just made all these connections, and but Kerry was really smart on like slowing us down and saying like, let's wait, let's build this. But we toured relentlessly.
Yeah.
And like when Shea Lulu opened, we were all working for Carol, the original owner and founder of Shea Lulu. So I ran the kitchen, Anne Marie was like the head waitress, and Les was the like bus guy, and she would let us leave for tour. But when we worked there, I would work from 5:30 in the morning till 5 at night, then go rehearse from like 6 or 7 until 11 or midnight, 7 days a week.
Wow.
Uphill both ways.
I mean, a lot of times people were like, how are they getting these things done?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think they understand the work that we put in.
Yeah. It's crazy to me too. Like, I think this question's gonna make sense, but I have a friend. I have several friends who are like in that part of the story, right now, like where you're working like a dog and you haven't made it yet. What was that like? Like, how did that make you feel during that time?
I felt fine. I mean, I was just doing what I was like.
You were just grind.
Laser focused.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like a grind because we just.
There's something on the horizon like the whole time, I guess.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. And we would also disappear and go tour and live in a van.
Yeah.
For
Get to travel the country.
weeks. Like literally I've played every state in America except Alaska and Hawaii.
Yeah.
And all over Canada and Europe.
Dude, what's playing in South Dakota like? It's got to be so weird.
Yeah, like we only did it like once, I think, but I played there.
I'm curious. So you finally get it, right? Yeah, like with Verbena, and you get to tour, like world tour, and you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was there ever a moment when you were doing that where you were like, "I'm a freaking rock star"? Like I'm actually doing it. What was that like?
Bad for my ego.
I imagine. Yeah.
I'm still recovering from that. No, dude, it was incredible. I mean, we're 20 years old. I'm 23 years old.
Yeah.
Barely 23 years old. And I'm out opening for everyone I ever dreamed I would open for.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, everything we set out to accomplish, we did.
Yeah.
And then ego and money and fame got in the way. And that was very typical of that time period. It's a very oh my gosh, cliche story, but like I lived through it. I mean, back then it's also different because back then you didn't have a phone. Like like to do interviews, I would have an AT&T calling card and call into a radio station.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would get kicked off the radio stations. All that we were always getting in trouble.
This was that. It's interesting you brought that up because that was something I wanted to like double tap in on. Was you're traveling the country even when you're doing like the smaller tours, and then you get to go overseas, and this is pre-social media. It's pre the entire landscape we operate in now. Like when you came back home and you were talking to your buddies, or like say you went to Christmas with your family and your random cousin who's like doesn't do anything like that at all. What was it like sharing those experiences with those types of people? Like that had to be. This is something that I think about because I think social media is so weird for we barely talked about this morning whenever we ran into each other at High Dive, which shout out High Dive, coolest place in Birmingham right now. But like when you operated in that way and you're trying to explain to someone like what South Dakota's like, there's no photos of South. Like, was there still like an insane?
I carried a camera with me.
Yeah,
I still have photos.
Like,
is there like all of them? But
awareness? Like, what was the awareness like of, or even like, were people interested in it?
In what I was doing, or in those towns?
Yes.
I mean, both, all of it. So, I mean, college radio was a whole different landscape back then.
Yeah.
And we would mail out stuff. Our manager would mail out stuff to college radio stations. I mean, the way we ended up getting major label deals, we had an indie label deal first, and it was structured beautifully. Like, it was really crazy the way things landed for us, and what we went after. But back then you could send stuff to people and they'd play it and they would listen and pick up the phone and call, and we just worked it. We literally worked it. The first people our manager reached out to at a major label was not the A&R guy. It was the people working in the radio promo departments. We started in the mail room, literally. You know what I mean? Like, if you get everyone that runs the label championing you, the A&R guy's going to hear about it.
Sure.
And then we happened to be a really freaking good band.
Yeah.
Like, we were at one point like unbelievable. And so that doesn't always mean success. It does.
Sure.
We could throw a rock and hit phenomenal bands right now that won't get a record deal, that won't get a booking agent. It's harder to get all of that stuff now. The booking agent especially, but nowadays I don't even care if I don't even think a record label matters until you get to a certain point.
Sure.
But, we worked it. That's how we got it. We went to local stations, pulled up in town, went to record stores. We would play the in-store. We'd go play the venue.
When do you think you realized this is what you wanted to do?
When I was 3 years old.
Actually?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When I was 3, there's photos of me holding the guitar. And then at 7, when my mom took me to see the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
I'm dating my age here. We had moved to Birmingham, Alabama. My mom didn't have childcare, and the Bee Gees were playing at the Civic Center. and so she took all of her kids.
That's awesome.
And so watching the Bee Gees,
so cool.
watching the Bee Gees play, and there was a lot of pyrotechnics, and girls were throwing their bras at the band, and I was just like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is it. But like my whole life,
Yeah.
like before, I was a concert promoter before I was playing in bands. I wanted community, and music was a way for me to find community.
Yeah.
Music was a way to like connect people. Music was a way to bring people together and gather people that may not hang out. Like music is the common thread. No matter what I do in life, music is connected to it
Yeah.
in some way, form, fashion, shape. I have vivid memories of car rides I don't remember a lot from my early childhood, but I remember moments with music. I remember being in my dad's Suburban on the side of a mountain thinking we're going to roll over because it's like that, and it's packed full of kids, and he's taking us all like camping and fishing, and the Doobie Brothers are just cranked up, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so my whole life,
Yeah.
I wanted to make records. Yep.
So 23 years old.
Yep.
How long was like the grind? I guess so. You go to college. You don't go to college. So you're like 18.
18, yeah.
So this whole grind, like work in the kitchen, work on records. That's like a 5-year period, pretty much. And then you hit, and then you tour the world.
And then it was off to the races. When we signed to Capitol Records, I quit my job.
Yeah.
Because back then record deals were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like people like
Did you go out and buy a Porsche first thing?
no. We structured ourselves as an S corp. We set up our business center. We put ourselves on payroll. I tried to convince the band to buy 3 buildings on First Avenue North. So like some of the early records we made is crazy. Like I don't know to loop this in now or when we talk about downtown, but we used to rent ourselves and another band. Remy Zero had a floor. Remy Zero had it, and we got to use it on Brown Mark's Tower. That's now First and 20th Street. That's being remodeled. But like early Remy Zero records stuff was made there. That's where we recorded.
Cool.
And then we ended up with a whole building on First near the police headquarters. We used to pay $200 a month.
Wow.
For a 2-story building.
Wow.
So when we signed to a record and had an advance, I was like, let's buy the building.
Yeah, literally.
No one wanted to buy a building. I wish we had.
Dang. That would be so cool.
Hindsight's 2020.
Wise investment nowadays.
That's like,
especially first.
as soon as I hit whatever money I hit, that's what I want to do. Is I want to buy a building downtown.
No, we didn't. Because you don't get it all up front. You know what I mean? Like you have budgets for marketing, you have budgets for recording, you have budgets for purchasing instruments, you have things that are recoupable, you have things that are non-recoupable. We were super business savvy. We were like heavy into the business side of it.
Yeah, I love that.
We were nerdy about it and studied. Like the thing that I grew up doing even in high school is like I wanted to know who managed the band, who produced the record, where did they make it. I wanted to know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we also had really good attorneys. Shout out to my buddy Steve Nierenberg and Michael Hayfitz. And our manager, Carrie, was a music business nerd. Like, so we navigated it different than most bands. I think I remember sitting in a room with the head of Interscope Records. I can't remember if it was Jimmy Iovine or his partner, but as we started throwing out what we wanted on the contract, they were shocked that these kids were like asking for $150,000 in marketing that's non-recoupable.
Yeah.
Most bands are just signing their lives away, and we're like, no.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's fun because this week I listened to 2 music-related podcasts. Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom's like one of the big podcasters now. He interviewed John Bellion, who just came out with a new record for the first time in like 7 years or something.
Yeah, a long time.
And then he interviewed like 6 or 7 months ago. He interviewed Under Oath. And that was like super out of left field to me, but I loved Aaron Gillespie's like some of his solo stuff. And when he had a band called The Almost,
Okay.
in like the early 2000s, so it was like kind of more like punk rock, less like hardcore stuff. And it was so fascinating hearing both of them talk about like the music business side of things, because now like Under Oath is still touring.
Oh yeah,
they've been together for like
Under Oath is still out there playing shows.
They've been playing shows together for like 24 years, I think they said. And it was funny listening to them talk about like how to deal with being 42 years old and like having wife and kids back home and like doing this tour life thing, and then listening to John Bellion talk about how he was like, I kind of just like wanted to drive my minivan home every day and go see my little boys. And so he's just been doing like the studio production thing for the last 6 or 7 years, and then just living at home and having like a normal life. And then his new record is basically about that. It's like, I really want to be a good dad.
Yeah.
And made a whole record about it.
I mean, the amazing thing about the music business now is you can sort of chart. It's like choose your own path.
Yeah.
Right. And how do you want to do it? But what a lot of artists, and this goes across the board from like music to painters, is that you get a lot of people. I want to choose my words wisely here. Like, you have artists that are anti-money. Like, look, the capitalist system is messed up on so many levels, right? But we live in a world where money is how we pay for things. To me, I look at money as just an exchange of value and energy.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a full-time artist, if you don't want to work another job, that means you need to sell your art.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to understand the business of selling your art and how to market it and how to grow it and how to do it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it means if you make more, imagine how much good you can do for other artists that don't have access.
Totally.
Like if you become a super successful artist, no matter what your medium is, and you understand the struggle, and you understand there's artists out there that have been impacted by the criminal justice system that don't even have the resources that you have, and you're a broke artist, but there's people even worse off. Imagine if you make a bunch of money, the good you can do.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's like a mindset issue that people have to shape around. So I always wanted to know the business side of things, because I knew I didn't want to keep, like, I knew it's what I wanted to do, you know, and I didn't want to work a day job. I wanted to be a full-time musician. So we didn't go buy stuff. We bought gear.
Yeah.
We did. I wish I had had the money about 6 months before that, because I sold the 1973 Fender Jazz bass that I still miss to this day. But we didn't do frivolous things, man. We were running Verbena was set up as a business.
That's awesome.
What I didn't understand was the full structure of it when I left the band.
Yeah.
And what I should have done differently. But that's a different story. You know.
Huh. So what was it like coming out of that season? Like, not necessarily what happened, but when you finally decided to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I imagine there was probably a little bit of, when the dust settled, a little bit of like, what the heck am I going to do now?
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd had a daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have an amazing daughter that is 28 years old. Shout out to my daughter Eden if she watches or listens to this. Eden just got married.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Where's Eden at?
She's in Nashville.
Come on.
Yeah. She and her husband Luke are up there. They're great people.
Are they like East Nashville people, or are they West Nashville people?
They are east, up on the east on I forgot what side of the road on one of the parkways.
Dox her right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but her address is.
Her address is
Just like directly across the street from this restaurant.
I don't know. You know, it's up one of those roads up there. But I mean, I'd had a kid, so it was different for me. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And when I left, it was like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I took a big risk leaving. I don't know what would have happened if I had stayed. I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, you never know the outcome. You just have to choose and then do it. And I did. I had to do what was best for me and my family. I went through great stress. I'm sure there was some unrecognized depression. I wound up in the hospital. I was so stressed out. I didn't know it. I thought I was sick, and they're like, "You're stressed, dude." I was like, "Wait, what? That's why I'm in pain?" Like, like it can do that to you.
Yeah.
There's that book, The Body Keeps the Score. Like, I learned that really young. But I had another band I was writing for, and when I left, the plan was to go play bass for Whiskey Town. That was the plan, was to go join Ryan's band when I left. But then Whiskey Town broke up. But that I knew that if I quit that band, that I could be in Whiskey Town. And I loved Whiskey Town at that time. But then they broke up, and I had a band called Cut Grass, and we started recording, and making stuff. None of that's ever been released. I think I recorded probably 3 albums. There's a whole album that's like sitting in a shed somewhere in Athens, Georgia. I don't even have the masters. I don't know what happened to it. The engineer lives in China and runs a recording studio in China. Yeah, I mean, like that, you know, I did that for a few years, and then I was a bass player for hire for people, and yeah, life got real crazy, man. I got divorced, was dating a rock star lady, and just got real lost. That started my like lost years, what I call the lost years, where I did not know how to navigate what I was going through. And that's when I started partying really hard, and I thought I needed to be like Keith Richards. I started like intentionally doing drugs, like hard drugs, not like, you know, oh, somebody's getting stoned or eating LSD or eating mushrooms. I started doing a lot of cocaine. And it ended up getting arrested, you know.
Wow.
And that radically changed my life.
Yeah. How old were you when that was happening?
Late 20s, so maybe right at 30. So 2002, I was arrested for felony drug possession of cocaine. It was an empty baggie, and they tried to send me to the state prison for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Go Alabama criminal justice. It was her. It took 2 years for me to go to court. I had a deal where like I could, if I paid a certain amount of money, the case would go away. I set up a payment plan. When I started missing payments, they kicked me out of drug court. They put out a warrant for my arrest, and I just went into hiding and got even worse.
Wow.
Like, they did not make it easy. I was partying when I got arrested. I started really doing drugs after I got arrested.
Wow.
The way the system was set up, there was no support. There was no like, hey, we can help you get through this. And I'm a guy with resources. I'm a very privileged freaking white man.
Sure.
And imagine how hard it is for people to have no resources, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and now I get to use that in context to help open people's eyes to what really goes on out there. Like it's been a gift. I look back, I have no regrets for what happened.
Yeah.
And I was being a brat. I mean, I was literally just talk about ego and rock star and the record deals and all that. Like, it was in my head bad.
Wow.
So I ended up getting locked up. I turned myself into the judge. One day I got tired. I went and turned myself in. And he was like, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm sending you up to the general population maximum security. This is in Etowah County, one of the worst county detention centers, been sued inside and out, upside and down. They don't feed people. They use them. I don't know what they do now.
Sure.
You can easily Google what they used to do with their money, buying beach houses, all sorts of stuff. But I was there for a little bit with you know, everything from just drunks that keep getting locked up to murderers, rapists, drug kingpins, people that wanted to slit my throat just for accidentally bumping into them on the stairs.
Yeah.
And then I was given a second chance by the district attorney, whose son is a musician here in Birmingham now.
Wow.
And that guy saved my life. He gave me a chance to go straighten my butt out. And I went to a men's home and ended up there. You go through like 7 weeks of what's called conquering chemical dependency. And through that, you're working all this sheets and your trauma. They're at least trying to get to some of the cause, but I still think people can do better. And I'm realizing, like, oh, man, I've had a good life. I don't really have anything. There's kids in here that have been abused and burned by cigarettes, and their parents were addicts. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I like, what's my excuse other than being a brat? So through that, there was a chaplain there that looked like Jerry Garcia. And everyone had told me once I was arrested, like, all right, well, are you ready to give up music now? Are you done? Like, don't you know now, like, to quit? And he was like, no, here, take this guitar. And so I started going into this old chapel and writing songs every single day. Wow. No agenda, no nothing. I would just write. Anytime I had free time, I would go write. And then you had to get a job. Well, I'd only been a chef and a musician. You can't get a job doing that in Etowah County.
They don't have rock stars there.
When you're, because technically I was a state inmate. So this whole time I'm a state inmate in a men's home. If I leave the facility, I get charged with felony escape, which is 15 years plus my full original sentence.
Wow.
I'm not leaving. I'm taking it very serious. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm writing all these songs, and then they end up giving me, when it's time to get a job, they're like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to write a record and maybe write a book. So they created a job for me where I drove guys to work every day. Instead of them outsourcing it, all the guys that had to go out to work and then come back, they paid me to drive them early every morning to factories, construction sites, and then I would write songs all day long. And those songs became my first solo record called Etowah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. Is this the record that you came out with like not that long ago?
I reissued it in 2019.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And we made the documentary about it because I had not been back since then.
Wow.
Yep.
That is awesome. I don't think I realized that. I knew it had to do with because you went to prison in Etowah County, but I did not know that was the context of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the whole context of it. My wife still has all the letters I wrote to her.
Really?
I think she has all the ones she wrote to me.
Was she the rock star lady you were dating?
No, she is a rock star. She's the biggest rock star I have ever been with. My wife is a powerhouse of a being, creativity, vision, love. Like my wife is unbelievable. We've been together almost 24 years.
Wow.
At the time I was dating Juliana Hatfield.
Gotcha.
Who was in a band called the Blake Babies. With my buddy John Strum.
Nice.
Who's a big music attorney. He does Bon Iver and Alabama Shakes and all these other folks.
Where'd you meet your wife?
And he played in the Lemonheads. John was a musician. He lived in Birmingham while playing guitar in the Lemonheads.
Really?
And he was in my band Cut Grass.
Huh.
Yeah.
When Wednesday came out with the album called When You Mow the Leaves Instead of Blowing Them, did you like feel like that was kind of an homage to Cut Grass? That's like do you listen to Wednesday? Do you know
I do. I saw them at like one of their very early shows at South by Southwest years ago.
Yeah.
And was floored.
They're so good
By that band.
The Alternative is I'm addicted to it. I like MJ Linderman, Waxahachie, I mean all those people.
Do you ever listen to early Uncle Tupelo?
I never listened to him.
You need to go listen to
early Uncle Tupelo.
Uncle Tupelo was Jeff Tweedy from Wilco and Jay Farrar from Sunvolt. That was their first band.
I'm gonna like that.
The very first Uncle Tupelo record, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, I see. Like Wednesday loves Drive By Truckers. Well, Drive By Truckers loved Uncle Tupelo. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna love listening to this. Okay, so before we get down a rabbit trail again.
Yeah, sorry.
It's easy to get down rabbit
I will
trails
take us
here.
on some rabbit trails. You gotta rein me in. It's like you talk about the Onion, like
yeah,
it's all real. It's not like this is just my life.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's crazy.
I've
We're
had so
not
many
even
lived experiences. You haven't even scratched the surface, and I haven't even shared half of everything.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten cle to when I met you either.
No.
No.
Well, okay, wife. When
Yeah.
did you meet your wife? Where does she come in?
Where did I met my wife in my ex-girlfriend's hair salon.
Nice.
Yeah. I would just go in there and hang out.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do.
This is before getting arrested?
Oh, wait. Yeah, this is right around the same time.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, almost the exact same time. I was a very bad influence on her early on.
Yeah.
Like her father wanted to have me killed.
Goodness.
Like
What a mess.
he threatened me. Yeah, like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
He's become one of my biggest mentors. He and I are tight.
That's awesome.
But we met, and my ex-girlfriend's hair salon. My wife's sister was there getting her hair cut, and she walked in, and I was just like, uh-oh. I went to talk to her, and she started coming to my shows and sneaking into the Nick.
Yeah.
And because she wasn't 21, and we were like on again, off again for years. And then when I went away, she was one of the only people that knew where I was.
Yeah.
Other than the people at the Nick, because at the time I was working the door at the Nick. That was one of my jobs, and so when I got to call. I called my wife to tell her where I was and said, call my mom. And I called the Nick and
Yeah.
said I won't be into work. Tell such and such I can't pay him the $50 I owe him.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally like those were my 2 calls I got
Yeah.
before they sent me up to general population. But we've been together, like, so we were like on again, off again for several years, and then we started writing each other letters all the time when I was locked up.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We just celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
I don't know, and I have an almost 12-year-old son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
we've been through it, thick and thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get out, go to the halfway house, write music.
Yeah, so I'm at the halfway house as a state inmate, but I'm writing a record.
Yeah.
And I get released from drug court after 6 months, and I stayed on. They wanted me to take over the men's home.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted me
No
to
way.
run. Yeah, they wanted me to run it. They were building me a room, like all this stuff. They really wanted me to run the place. It was the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Like you have guys with like real problems. You think you have problems? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You absolutely, like, maybe you do. And it's all, I think things are relative. There's people that think my incarceration is a joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, to me, it was real serious. I mean, it's not been 20 years, but to me, relative, it was very serious. It's
Yeah.
all like dependent upon your life situation.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to run it, and I could not do it. Like after 3 months, so I was there 9 months, and but I had a roommate from Baylor that was like, "Hey, why don't you come to Wyoming? You can live with me for free." And there was a little indie label starting in Birmingham called Superphonic Records, and they wanted to put out. I was giving them the demos that I was making, and they were like, what do you need to make this record? And I was like, I need $3,000. Just nothing. Like, looking back, I'm like, wow, really? That's it? But I said, give me $500 a month for 6 months to live on.
Yeah.
That's how I wanted to use the money. Because what I had done, once I got to a certain phase in the men's home, you got to leave for 24 hours on a Saturday, right? And everyone did that, even as a state inmate. As long as it was approved by the court and the judge, you got to leave. That first Christmas, so 2004 Christmas, I come to Birmingham and go straight to my buddy Jody Nelson, who was in a band Through the Sparks. Jody makes solo records. He's one of the most phenomenal guitar players. And he was like, have you been writing? And I was like, yep. He was like, let's record it. So we recorded a song called Golden Sun. And how it is on the album is how we recorded it that night.
Yeah.
And so every time I got a 24-hour pass, I would go to Jody's. He had a studio in his parents' garage, and I would record.
Yeah.
So every time Morgan, my wife, would come pick me up, and we go to Jody's, and I would record. And so that first record, Etowah, was recorded during leaves as a state inmate.
Wow.
From Rafa Home for Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have songs built up before I send to label, but I need to finish writing them. So I flew to Wyoming. She was living in Seattle at the time. Her job finished. She came down to Wyoming, and we were living in Teton Village. And it got to like winter was coming. It's like, all right, are we in or are we out? What do we do?
Are we hunkering down, or are we going to go back south?
Yeah, are we here for the snow, or what are we doing? But at the time there was nowhere to make a record in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, in Teton Village in Teton County. Since then, Kanye's made records.
I was going to say, yeah, there's
recording
yeah.
studios all over the place now.
Yeah.
But in 2005, there was not.
Yeah.
So we came back to Birmingham, and I finished the record, and I put that first record out in 2006.
Yeah. Did you go tour it?
I did. Me and AA Bond, and then AA Bond, and then Bondi signed to Superphonic Records, and he and I would do shows together around the Southeast and tour. Yeah, I toured, played all up and down the East Coast. Like, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Not like I did in my 20s, but I toured all the way up until a few years ago.
Really? Okay.
Really until I opened Club Duquette.
Yeah. What was your solo artist?
It's my name, Duquette Johnston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stun.
Duquette Johnston.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to just use my name.
Yeah.
Because for a while, and even when I was using my name, I would add like a band to it. But my buddy Jeffrey Kane, that I grew up making music with, was like, hey, listen, I really think you should focus. Because every time I had a batch of songs, I would create a new band, and I'd put people together, and I'd have a new band. It would be Duquette Johnston and this, and I had one for a while that was called the Felons, and then I had one called the Rebel Kings, and there's different stuff. But he convinced me to just stick with Duquette Johnston. So
Yeah. How did you come up with band names? This is a tangent, but how do you come up with band names?
It depends on the band. Cut Grass was because I was really stoned in the back of a van riding through some state and waking up and just going, man, it smells good outside.
Yeah.
It was like somebody was mowing a field, and I was like, I'm going to call a band Cut Grass, and that was it.
Yeah.
Volume was because we were literally louder than anything you'd ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
We were so loud, it was piercing. And we stayed that way, even through Verbena. I mean, Dave Matthews came to see us play one time in Virginia, and he left because we were too loud. It was at a sushi restaurant called Tokyo Rose, I think, and there's a venue underneath, and it was in his hometown. And, yeah, someone sent him out to come see us, but by the third song, and he stood there with his fingers in his ears every song.
What do you think is like one of your most obscure or wild stories from tour? Doesn't have to be the most, because I'm sure there's so many crazy things that have happened. But, like, what's the most random thing that, like, people don't believe you when you tell them?
I mean, probably stuff with the Foo Fighters when we were opening for them. Probably, like, Winona Ryder coming, like, this New York show. There was, like, Winona Ryder and Liam Gallagher, because Oasis was the next night in New York. But Liam would just show up at stuff back then. But when Grohl,
that is insane.
That is literally it.
but Grohl was dating Winona Ryder, so after we played Roseland Ballroom with the Foo Fighters, he rented the penthouse of I forgot what the hotel was.
The Grand Hotel?
Yeah, the Soho Grand.
Wow.
How'd you know that?
That's the most popular hotel in New York City.
Still? I haven't stayed
Presumably,
there.
it's kind of famous.
I haven't stayed there since the 90s, but it is famous. But he rented one of the penthouses at Soho Grand, and it was what's his name from 9 Inch Nails? Who's that guy?
Hey,
Trent Reznor. So Trent Reznor had.
you're talking an era of music that you're going to know a lot more.
Okay,
than
Trent
we will.
Reznor had one penthouse, and Grohl had the other, and it was just a bunch of us all like hanging out after the show. But people are. Especially because Winona had a huge comeback with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
My wife loves to share that pictures of me with Winona and her best friend at the time.
That is awesome.
And she and I did not get along.
Yeah.
No, she was like, "Why are you out here? You have a child at home. Go home."
That's crazy.
Because my
Liam
daughter was due to be born when we got offered our first Foo Fighters dates.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were supposed to tour Europe, and I said, "No way, I'm not going to go tour Europe when my child is about to be born." And the label in England was like, "Well, bring your girlfriend." Sitting there showing off my stomach to the camera. They were like, she can have the baby in England. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to fly, right?
Yeah.
And the bass player from Swerve Driver offered to fill in. I don't know if you've listened to them. They're one of the most phenomenal, loud another shoegaze band. But then the band we were going to open for was a band called Belly. This woman, Tanya Donnelly, part of the whole Boston scene. And Tanya called me and said, "Do not do this. You do not have to take this tour. I will offer you more tours. Stay home and be a dad." And the band was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do it without him." And then Dave Grohl called. And it was the same time. And so I had to say yes.
Yeah.
But the label flew me to shows, so I got to fly to shows.
Okay,
and fly
that's
home.
good at least.
And then my daughter's mom went into labor at 4 a.m. after we finished our last show with the Foo Fighters.
Wow.
And I drove home 8 hours through tornadoes.
Got there?
And made it there an hour before.
Some serious Marty Supreme vibes right now.
Did
Did you watch Marty Supreme
I have
yet?
not seen it, but I got
Dang, I
there
just
an
kinda
hour
ruined it for
before
you.
she was born. I listened to My Bloody Valentine's record, Loveless, on repeat.
Yeah.
It's the only record I listened to it took me a 6-hour drive, took me 8 hours because of the weather. And when I walked in there, I was so zoned out. And then all of a sudden I have a child.
That's insane.
That's wild.
I mean, Liam Gallagher, that's pretty I'm a Manchester City fan.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So that's pretty
Do you
insane.
watch Man City like highlights all the time? Like
Constantly.
I am like
He's obsessed.
I went to I went to Manchester. I went to a game this year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you go to the pub across the street afterwards?
No, because it's like. Have you been before? Yeah. Are you familiar with it?
I just went this summer.
You're talking about like the fish and chips place, the blue building that's
Yeah.
like right across the street? Well, there's like a ton of people there after the game,
Oh,
so we
I
didn't
bet.
go.
Yeah.
But it is like famous though. Like
Yeah.
it's literally the stadium's like kind of out by itself on like sort of like the beginning of the suburbs. There's nothing around except for neighborhoods, except for
Now
this
there's
one
one of the
little fish
now,
and chips.
now there's the most.
The co-op is right there.
The co-op is insane.
Yeah.
I went there. Like I'm getting off on a tangent here, but we went to go see Jeff Lynne's ELO this summer.
Wow.
While we're in Manchester, we're in Manchester to see Oasis.
Sure.
But
Did they play at the Etihad? Like at the stadium?
no.
Or where'd they play at?
They played out in the field, out in the
Oh,
park.
I bet 1 billion people went.
It was inside the grounds. There was over 80,000. Then outside the grounds, I don't even know how to
Yeah,
tell you.
magic.
I was at the very first night in Manchester. Wow, that's a whole other story we can get into if you want to about how we ended up with all access passes and stayed. We were the last ones to leave the show, other than the band. Wow. But anyways, co-op. One of the most beautifully sonically designed rooms I've ever sat in my life. Jeff Lynne canceled while we're sitting there. He got sick.
Wow.
But we're sitting in this space, and there's 23,000 people, and there was no crowd noise.
Wow.
You could not hear a single thing people were saying.
It's like what they're doing is so cool right there.
Yep.
They're like essentially there's a Premier League like soccer stadium, and connected to it they built like an indoor entertainment venue, and they're connecting it through a hotel, and I think it's 8 or 12 of the rooms in the hotel you can rent, and you can watch the game from your balcony in your hotel room.
Wow.
So you can literally, it's like when you buy a night to one of the games, you literally are buying a ticket to the game. But it's like connected where you can stay in the hotel, and theoretically you could watch a show on Friday night. Saturday night you could watch the Premier League game, like, and stay in the same hotel room. But it's like this whole thing they're building. So anyways, that's crazy. You actually got to go.
Well, and since
be part of it.
since Oasis played, now there's a whole fund from the amount of money, the economic impact. Like I was texting Mashonda Taylor, the executive director of Woodlawn United. I was like, "This is how a city like uses an event like this, or like a historical moment to feed everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone ate from that Oasis tour.
Yeah.
Right? Like, consider this. Bad Bunny did his residency in Puerto Rico, right? What he did over 30 shows, Oasis did in 5, numbers-wise.
Yeah.
The economic impact is insane and still ripples out. So now there's a whole fund created that is grants for bands and artists. They're building a new venue, all because of this one band. But Manchester tapped into it. When we were there, street vendors were selling stuff. Every bar was, it was just insane. But
It's crazy to me that
I'm
Oasis
jumping way
is from
ahead
there.
to 2025 and skipped 30 years
Oasis
of my life.
from there, and the 1975, who I would say is present day version of the Oasis more than anybody else. That's like a modern, 2015 and on artist, and they're from the same city.
Yeah,
and the city's like,
dude, the historical bands that have come from So when I was 15, 16, me and my buddy Scott Ferguson and Chris Rowell and all these people not that y'all know who they are, but we would sit in parking lots listening to the Stone Roses and all these Manchester bands, like the Smiths and Stone Roses. And to realize the influence that all that had on me was insane. Then to go there this past summer.
Is that your first time ever going to Manchester? Or
No. I'd been to Manchester before. It just had been a while.
But to go for that.
But to go for this. And for it to click.
No one ever thought Oasis would ever play shows again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I suspected they would.
Really?
Yeah. Because
no one except for you.
Because they hang out with one another. Like, it's not like that you never saw them together. They would, like, 2 of the bandmates would be at Man City games, like, all together often.
Yeah.
Or, like, if England was playing, like, they would be there.
The Gallagher brothers got their rights back to their masters.
Is that what happened?
Right before they announced their tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Because
they're
it was
smart.
So they kind of got fricked.
Their manager is savvy.
Yeah.
Like, people were posting on Reddit. I swear I will not take us down a rabbit hole about Oasis. I'll try not to.
We can go there.
I'll draw us back in a second.
Try pull us back on path. We're getting off the timeline here. We haven't even talked about downtown. We're gonna need like 5 hours. But people were posting like, look, Liam's leaving the show every night in a Land Rover. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's da 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 da. Well, when I land in Manchester, I see huge billboard ads with Defender and Oasis on it. I was like, they're sponsored. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's not leaving because he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's leaving so they get
People
photo
see-
ops of him in a freaking Land Rover.
Yeah.
And he's being a very smart guy
sense.
and going home and taking care of his body and his voice and not
Yeah.
avoiding the party.
Yeah. He's also like old. Like he can't like he's not going
Careful now, I'm close. He don't
He's
like.
wise.
He's the musicians that are still alive and
Yeah.
doing stuff are like they wise up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, you can't go.
it is rare. Not everybody can be Keith Richards.
Right.
Sure.
And I think even Keith Richards is not Keith Richards anymore. You know what
He
I mean?
wants you. Yeah, maybe he wants you to think
Like
that.
that's just his vibe. But Keith Richards is not doing rails of cocaine and like handles of freaking bourbon every night.
Yeah. It's nuts. Okay, so to draw us back, one of the things that I did want to say is, so I went to seminary. I took Hebrew, and one of my favorite words I learned the whole time was Rapha,
Really?
which is pretty cool. That was the name of your
Interesting.
home you lived in. Rapha is a word that means healing, but there's a notion to it where you can heal, but in improper ways. But when Rapha means you're healing in a way you were designed to, or you're healing in a way that is
I never knew that.
natural to you. And I love that. I love the distinction of the two. There's like different times in the Old Testament where different uses or different like types of the word healing is used. And then every time that Rapha is used, it has to do with, like I said, like a natural way of doing it. So in my opinion, it was like it was like a really cool thing. So that's pretty crazy that you just said that.
Yeah.
So anyways, so you're at Rapha
I'm out.
and
You get out, you
get
tour,
out,
make
you
the
tour.
album.
Yep.
And then I'm really interested. Post the Etowah County record, is there anything that goes on post that pre-Duquette, like Club Duquette?
Oh, there's a lot that goes.
Okay.
There's a lot. That
Talk to
goes
me
on.
about that
I
phase.
mean, I started. So one time, my wife wrote and was like, I was like, sort of like figuring out what my next album was gonna be. I was writing. I always write. I write constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. And she sent me this thing that was on NPR, and it was called the RPM Challenge, and it was Record Producing Month for the month of February. And the challenge was, you join with this group and you try to write and record an album. And it was like a collective of people that all agreed we're going to do this individually on our own. And you write, record, and have this album done in 28 days.
Wow.
And so I was like, cool, this will be great. I'm going to do that. And I wrote an album called It Sings Because It Has a Song. And it's just me and one microphone and a cassette 4-track. And there was like all sorts of issues with trying to get that done. Like there was a snowstorm, the power was going out. Like I scrapped every song I had, thought I was going to do and started over. And I did that record in 2008. And then I did another one. And the next one was called Rugged and Fancy. And that's where my wife's
Boom.
comes, because people used to joke and say that she and I were rugged and fancy. But so I did 2 of those, and all the while she and I are like building, like, I was writing fashion, a blog about men's skincare and fashion, and connecting to all these people on Tumblr, and she was still in school, and we were just building this world, like when social media was still about building community.
Yeah.
Before big money was involved in social media and corporations and algorithms, it was for building community, and you could.
Right.
And you built followers. Now none of it is based on followers anymore.
Yeah.
Like we could go down a whole rabbit hole about how things work and what to do and what not to do, and the fact that there's a ton of people that are full of crap out there trying to tell people that there's some formula that works. And selling courses, but
Everyone is selling courses.
Gee whiz, yeah. But we were doing these activations. We were doing curated dinners. We were hosting people. We were doing art events, fashion things, We were just like in this world the whole time. Like I'm still writing and putting out records. And,
Yeah.
and she's making art, and that was what sort of led towards Club Duquette.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I did It Sings Because It Has a Song. I did Rugged and Fancy. Rugged and Fancy was doing things. We did partnerships with Garden and Gun, Southern Living, like all these publications we were paid to do. Before there were influencers, we were getting paid to go cover events and do things. And like we hosted our buddy Rowan Anderson, who put out a book called Whole Larder Love back in the like mid 2000s that blew up. We just did all sorts of stuff, you know. We were just, people weren't doing things, so we just started doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? There was Caleb Chansey was doing stuff. He had Greyhaven, and so like
legend.
Definitely legend. Like Greyhaven was a phenomenal experience for me. I did a lot of collaborative shows through that, and then I recorded some stuff with my band, the Rebel Kings, who's Duquette Johnston Rebel Kings. We took 4 songs off of Rugged and Fancy, and I wanted to make a full band version of them. And I mixed that stuff with my buddy Jeffrey Kane, and he was like, I'm starting a label. He had moved back here from LA, and he was like, let me put this out on a 45. And
Sweet.
he built a studio at his house, and then he ended up getting a space in Woodlawn first.
Yeah.
And then that record came out. He put out that 45, and then his brother-in-law Armand was like, "Hey, I want to help you make a record. I'm a really big fan. Like, I like your music."
Is that how Armand originally got his way to Birmingham?
No, he came. I forget how he came here for school. I can't remember how he ended up in Birmingham because he was in Oklahoma. You know, he came through Albania. I mean, he escaped like communist revolution.
Sure.
And came to Oklahoma, and then I can't remember if he came here for school. I forgot how he got to Birmingham.
Okay.
But then he had this studio in Homewood, and I would go in every morning. I was working production at the time to pay bills, but I would go into Armand's studio, and I had a key, and I would write songs every morning, or like 6 a.m. Huh. I would go in and just sit with a guitar and light a candle and write.
Yeah.
And then we started recording, and that made my Rabbit Runs a Destiny record that Jeffrey put out. And then
what was the name of that record label?
Communicating Vessels.
Okay, I was wondering if that was Comvest or
yeah,
not.
it's Comvest. Yeah, Comvest, short for Communicating Vessels. Freaking amazing time period.
Yeah.
In Birmingham music scene. And then after that, when I was like, then I had my son was born.
Come on.
Yeah. So we didn't think we could have kids.
Really?
No. I mean, we've been together forever and never even had a scare.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then like the record's coming out, and it was like, hey, it's like the record came out in 2013. My son was born in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah. And my wife got really sick and almost died.
Goodness.
She had a C. diff bacterial infection in her gut. And I had a song place. I had one really good song placement. Then I produced a song for a TV commercial, and it was enough for us to just live off of, and I didn't have to work. And I did that until we ran out of money.
Yeah.
And to get her healthy, I just took care of my kid and took care of her and would write songs around the clock. And those songs became my last record for the Social Animals.
Wow.
And like that time period happened to line up with me opening Club Duquette. Like when she got better in 2015, and we were like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You're healthy. What are we going to do now? What's the next step? And we sat down on New Year's Eve 2015 and wrote out what we wanted our next year to look like. And we're like, all right, let's figure out how to open a store. And 9 months later, we opened a store.
Yeah.
Because people told me I couldn't. And I got mad. I really did.
Why'd they tell you couldn't?
They thought it was a stupid idea. They thought it wouldn't work. They were like, no one will come to Woodlawn. No one will do this. No one will do this in Birmingham. And the quickest way to get me to prove something is to tell me it can't be done.
Yeah.
For better or worse. I'm still stubborn about this stuff. I really am. Like when people in the work I do now in Woodlawn, or in Birmingham in general, when people say something won't work, I'm like, you're not the person I need to be talking to then, because you have too much doubt. You don't believe something is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I believe anything is possible. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So what?
Yeah.
Move on. But if you don't try, guess what? It's definitely not going to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I fought with my own father-in-law about it. He wouldn't. I asked him for a loan to buy my first inventory, and he was like, no way, man. You hadn't filed your taxes, all this stuff. And we had one friend that was my wife's yoga teacher and mentor that was like, I'll loan you $5,000. And I said, that's too much. That scares me. Now I'm like, whatever, man. Give me $1 million. I'll get you a return on it somehow. But I said, look, give me $3,000. I'll pay you back in less than 6 months. And we took that $3,000. Jake and I from Great Barrier Wax Company built out the whole space ourselves. Jake convinced a paint company to donate his paint, and we both posted about it on social media. Yeah. So I think we only spent $400 on the build out, and I spent $3,000 on inventory and sold it all the first weekend and left to go start making my new record in New Jersey. So I flew to New Jersey. It's me and the producer John and Yellow and Steve Shelley, the drummer from Sonic Youth. So we did it at Sonic Youth Studio. And my buddy Emil Amos played bass. We cut all the rhythm tracks there. And while they were like fixing things or in between takes, I would be placing orders for Club Duquette to get it full. Because we did one weekend. We're like, all right, we got to close. I'm going to make a record. Then we'll reopen officially in a week.
Yeah, yeah.
And I came back and we reopened, and it was off to the races.
Wow.
And then we did all the overdubs at Communicating Vessels in Woodlawn, and then mixed it at a studio in New Jersey called Water Music. That was a legendary spot. And then COVID hit and the record came out late.
Yeah.
But we did get, but Club Duquette was off to the races at that point. Yeah.
What is your perspective on making money? I know you said like, it's a transference of value, and I completely agree with that. It's like the number is just meant to like, so I don't have to trade you my sweatshirt because I want food and you're a grocery store or whatever, But most people think about, I just go to my job, I make my salary, and like, that's how I live. Your life is way more nuanced than that. How do you think about like making money to live?
Can you clarify, like, how do I think about, like, I mean,
so
I have to have it to live.
Right. So, for example, you talked about when your wife got sick, you made enough money from, like, putting some songs on commercial to then just, like, chill and not necessarily work and focus more on that.
Yep.
What I love is just that it feels like you almost make money at the it's more integrated in your life, if that makes sense, as opposed to like the normal perspective. I use quotes that I don't like, but I don't like this, but the normal perspective is like you go to your work and you make your money and you come home and then you live your life. To me, the way that you make your money, it's much more integrated into the way you live your life, and I love that.
It is absolutely integrated.
How have you built your life that way?
Through intentionality and through like stubbornness, but believing that action creates momentum, that you can design your life. It's hard. I am not saying it is easy. There are times where we have been dead broke, where when my wife was sick, we had the mortgage company tried to foreclose on our home. I mean, there was multiple times we were days away from losing our home. I had a guy that I used to produce. I worked for a while as a producer. I used to, for a couple of photographers. One was Miller Mobley and Jason Wallace.
Wow.
And I'll give a huge shout out to Jason Wallace right now. He may not want me sharing this, but I'm going to, because I said I'm an open book. Like one time Jason was like, hey, are you still behind on your rent? Like, all right, I'm going to send you money. Don't worry about it. And he caught us up on, not on our rent, on our mortgage.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like, it's not necessarily like the smartest way to do things necessarily, but we've really through that learned and grew on how to focus on intentionality and design our lives in a way. And we're very fortunate that we do it, but we're here because we've done it on purpose. I won't work for an hourly wage. I'm 53. Like and I have experimented and tried and failed, and I don't look like I hate the word failure because it's like, man, you're just figuring things out. Failure is not bad.
Yeah.
As long as you're learning from it. If you keep failing and doing the same thing over and over again, then that's the definition of insanity. Right. Like I am, it's definitely integrated. Like we wanted our life to not be connected to some grind or some hustle. My family is my priority. Our family, we make decisions as a family first and foremost. And if it's not good for our family, we don't do it. You know, and there's times where we do stuff that might be difficult, but it is integrated. And I view it as like I am open to making as much money as possible because I know that then I can in turn give back. You know, I mean, I'm still rebuilding from what COVID did to my company. But then I'm also real nerdy. Like I do like deep dives on businesses that you think are successful, and I'm doing deep dives on their Schedule C filings to see like what round of Series A funding they've done to pay off debt because they're not making money.
Right. Right.
Like when I say I'm a nerd about business, I am a nerd about business.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about it. I mean, and that's just come through a lot of trial and error. But we've had a lot of intentionality of what do we want our life to look like? What do we need to do to make that happen? What sacrifices do we have to make? We don't go out. I mean, it helps that we don't drink, you know? So a lot of people go out to bars. We don't buy cigarettes. Like there's sacrifices you have to make to achieve where you want to be and go. And I know because I have made millions and also been so poor that the mortgage company wanted to take my house, I know that it's possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I've already done it. So I know it's possible. Being a 20-year-old kid with a multi-million-dollar record deal is insane.
Right.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Was there ever like one thing I appreciate is that it's not all about money for you. Like, again, like you're saying, if this is better for my family, then like I'm going to choose that over whatever, making a bunch of money.
Absolutely. I would go to my wife first. I would discuss anything and everything with my wife and my son and be like, hey, listen, this opportunity's on the table, you know? And there's also like moral things. I would turn down money so fast if it did not agree with me more like morally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things going on in this country right now that cause division. If there was some company that I thought was really vile and evil and hurts society, if they offered me money, I'm most likely going to say no, or I'm going to donate all of it.
Right.
But I'm probably going to say no because I don't want my name attached to it.
Right.
I just don't.
Right.
I don't care. Like I'll make money somewhere else.
Have you always been that way?
I think so. Yeah. I believe in community. I believe in taking care of people. And here's the thing that I truly believe. I think you can do both.
Right.
And I like to consider myself a disruptor in the business community because a lot of people think you have to be greedy and you can only make money if you do this. You can only make money if you don't pay people. I'm like, well, you might make less, but you're still going to make profit. And I bet you if you take care of people, you'll make even more money.
Yeah.
I fully think it's possible to run ethical businesses, environmentally friendly businesses, and still make money.
100%.
And that's the realm I've spent the last year in, trying to show that and prove that to people. And I sit in boardrooms with C-suites and chairman of boards right now and push back on what they say. Like, we can't donate because of this. I'm like, you're $1 billion company, and you're going to worry about giving to a community like a couple $100,000. Give me a break.
Yeah.
No way. You'll make that back right now.
It's also it's your responsibility. Like you've been saying this whole time, like
corporate social responsibility is a huge thing, and human responsibility. It is our responsibility to take care of people.
Right. If you have excess, it's your responsibility to be giving.
Absolutely. You didn't get it all on your own. I don't care what anybody says. Something helped along the way.
You're riding the coattails of those who forged the path before you, who rode the coattails of the before.
Someone didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Something's happening. You can run a good company. You can do good business and make money.
Amen.
It's not even like responsibility is it kind of, I don't know. was talking about this with Miles this morning after you left, but it's like it's just more blessed to give than receive. Like it's like a time old tale. Like when you give to a company to buy a jacket at H&M, you're probably gonna come home and be like, I mean, like, this is a cool jacket, but in like 3 months, it's like falling apart, whatever. Mm-hmm. If you give to your friend to help him start a company, you go have a cup of coffee there, or you go buy insurance from him like 3 months down the road, and you see like the impact that's having on his family and on his life. Like, you never ever would regret that.
Yeah, and I think there's a culture thing in America, right? Where I was telling this to a guy the other day. He owns a bunch of franchises. And he was asking me about like about an idea he had, and we were getting to philosophy about running businesses and all these different things. And I was like, I think people in America, because of large corporations, and you need people that can create jobs, right? There's a reason, but we have this homogenization of culture and industry happening, and this consolidation. So you have this illusion of options when they're all run by the same one parent company.
Right.
Yeah. You just don't
P&G
know, right?
or
BlackRock. It's either BlackRock or Vanguard, and they
yeah.
both own each other, and it's like a snake eating its own tail. But I kind of got lost, but on my train of thought there when I started going off. But I was like, oh, here's what it was. I believe in America, and this is just my own thoughts, that we have been convinced that we can only afford to buy cheap because no one will pay you more, right? If you keep people earning a lower wage and they can only afford to buy cheap stuff, then they're afraid to save and invest in quality pieces. That's not the way it used to be, right? Mm-hmm. For years. I mean, everyone talks about, well, bring back American manufacturing. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you know how much that costs? You got to start raising everyone's wages. Mm-hmm. Right. There's a reason manufacturing doesn't exist in America. We left that left a long time ago, but there's people that are proving it can be done. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's people that are doing it. Yeah. All day long. And some of them are doing it, paying people well, and still making money. Mm-hmm. It exists.
Yeah. I mean, like, Imogene and Willie and Buck Mason, I feel like are the two like most popular new brands. Yep. And they, like, I was at Buck Mason the other day, and they had this, or maybe it was Imogene and Willie, I can't remember, but it was like a 2-pack of T-shirts, like literally white T-shirts. It was $90, mm-hmm. but on there it had a map of every. That's
Imogene and Willie.
Yeah, it had a
everything
map
was
of,
cut, cut, and sewn within a 400-mile radius.
Yeah, and it was like Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. It was like literally the freaking, like, cotton was grown.
This is like, what Alabama used to do. I had a conversation with one of the heads of the Department of Labor from the federal government a couple of years ago, pushing back, and people from Alabama. I'm like, all right, I get it. Our priorities are biotech, health, this, and we have automotive. I'm like, but not everyone's going to go to those industries. You know what we used to do here? We used to have a massive textile industry. We milled cotton, we cut, we sew. Dye houses were in South Carolina. That's what my wife's family did for generations. Her family was in the garment industry for 7 generations. Wow. Her grandfather had 3 factories in Alabama. Like back in, like, through the like 90s, 80s, 90s, through the early 2000s. Yeah. But it can be done. It's being done. Buck Mason owns their own factory. Imogene and Willie does. You've got guys like Chris Black from Done to Death Projects and How Long Gone podcast. Chris just dropped his line, Hanover. Everything was made in the USA. It wasn't like the 400-mile radius thing, but it's all made in the USA. His denim was $155. His Oxford cloth shirts were $120. Like, yeah. So don't tell me it can't be done when it's being done.
Especially like when people are buying. I mean, when your comp is freaking Amazon, like, you're not going to find Amazon prices built in America. But, like, Buck Mason's button-downs are, like, $180, which I feel like is a pretty comparable rate to, like, what you would think about for... Or if you were going to Buck Mason, they're making crappy shirts, it'd be one thing that they're charging $60 for. But they're like, super nice quality, too.
Yeah. They're making really great clothes. They're making stuff that lasts. They control all of it. They don't wholesale. They don't run sales. Like... when you can control your vertical, then
fully integrated,
it's easier to do, right? But now because you have so many brands that people consider luxury that now you can buy on Amazon.
Yeah.
The brands have stores on Amazon.
Yeah.
I've dropped brands at Club Duquette because they started doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't buy.
I'm
I have
really curious.
No interest in
this
that.
is something that I wanted to talk to you about because right now in Birmingham, I really hope you change it, but there's no retail.
There is no retail in Birmingham.
I literally was driving around the Summit the other day with Gracie, and I was like, I wish.
say that with a caveat, by the way. There is some retail. I can name shops, but I get what you're about to say. Like,
but I was like, there's not a single store in Birmingham that I am afraid to go into because I know that I'm going to buy something if I go in there. Everywhere, every shop in Birmingham, like the Nike store at the Summit the other day. We were like wasting time. I can't remember why. And I was like, oh, let's go in. And I went in, and I was like, that was fun. It's kind of like going in a museum or something. And I walked out, and that was when I made the comment. I was like, there's not a single store in this entire city like Duquette where I walked in, and like every time I was in there, I'd leave with like a beanie or socks or a candle or jeans or something.
Yep.
Like every single time. Like, I'm wondering, like, was it just impossible when you were doing it? Like, was it as hard as people make it out to be? Like, I want to give you space to encourage people to do it that are listening.
No,
and then
it's
also,
not. No.
like, please pump some brand or some stores around Birmingham if you know of any.
Yes and no on was it as hard, right?
Yeah.
The pandemic made it a lot harder.
Yeah.
People changed their behavior patterns. Money went way up. Money went way down on what people are doing. Brands started going to Amazon and selling on Amazon. I won't call out names, but brands did it. I'll call out Levi's. I dropped Levi's because they went back on the stock market and started getting so greedy that they quit working with small boutiques, and the leadership all left and went to Wrangler. So there's a reason I started carrying Wrangler was the people.
Really?
They cared more about small boutiques. You know, like I sold a ton of Levi's.
Yeah.
A lot for a little mom and pop shop that spent $0 on marketing or advertising. I sold an ungodly amount of Levi's. So
what was the original idea of Club Duquette?
So-
Because you did have your own like designed clothes,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But then you also curate
Yep.
other brands.
We always consider ourselves curators.
Okay.
We always there's a tagline on the website that says purveyors of cool. Like we loved treasure hunting. We collected before we had a brick and mortar. We did pop-ups. We sold vintage military. We collected antique rugs. We collected antique books and glasses. And my wife and I are both collectors.
Yeah.
So, in her growing up in a family that manufactured, we were like, all right, well, we're doing all this stuff. We're doing production. We're doing style consulting and wardrobe consulting for private individuals. We're constantly having to leave the city of Birmingham to do anything. We have to go to Sid. We have to go to Imagina Willie. And I had someone that was willing to back me doing my own denim brand.
Whoa.
And as I was thinking about it, something in my gut was like, man, I don't know. And I talked to Matt at Imagina Willie, and Matt was like, dude, like, I wouldn't do it. And he was like, I'm not worried about you being in competition because he doesn't need to worry about anybody being in competition.
Sure, right.
But he was like, let me tell you everything that can go wrong.
Huh.
And I was like, all right. Because we met them when they were building their store.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of my mentors is a guy out in L.A., life advisors, whatever you want to call them. It's not like an official mentorship. I just look up to him immensely and message him anytime I'm trying to make a big life decision. And he was like, I had a record out, was in L.A., and I met with him. And he was like, listen, man, you and your wife have talked about doing a store forever. Why don't you do that? And you're all about community. Make it about your community. Don't do e-commerce. Just build something that serves your community, that brings people together. That's what you really want to be doing. And so that's what we did. I bailed on my first investor, backed out on me. I had signed a lease. I was ready to go. Jake and I had the lease. And my first investor was like, I'm hesitant. And then the woman, Kim, that gave us our first loan. And we were really fortunate that several of the brands, we started with two brands. It was Taylor Stitch and Ursa Major. both happened to be fans of my music.
Wow.
And waived my minimum order.
Huh.
So the head of the wholesale division of Ursa Major at the time had been a fan since Verbina's first solo record. It's one of his favorite records ever.
Wow.
And he was like, wait a minute. And he was like, yeah, I see that you've been using this skincare.
Huh.
So
it's kind of crazy because Ursa Major's still like.
But now they're on Amazon.
Really? They sold out. I don't know that. Yeah, I just feel like they definitely sold to like.
They didn't sell, but
somewhere.
they have investors.
Yeah.
Based out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
The investment group that backs them is here in Birmingham, Alabama.
How about that?
Ursa Major is still a great company.
Yeah.
I still use their product.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to. Now I'm using Aaron. I just switched to Aaron Levine's new skincare.
Okay.
Do you know Aaron?
Is that Adam Levine's wife or something like that?
No. Aaron Levine is one of the freaking most looked up to designers in menswear.
Oh, cool.
I think I met him when he was at Ralph Lauren.
Okay.
Because one of our big advisors when we opened Club Duquette was the VP of design at Ralph Lauren.
Wow.
Did not know that, but he was a fan of my music, and someone said call him, and I was like, why would I called it Lee?
Dude, I need to put a pin in that for after this. I need to talk to you about a friend who really wants a job at Ralph Lauren.
But Ursa Major, I still use some of their stuff, but Aaron did when he left. I forgot which was his label at Ralph Lauren. It wasn't Rugby. I have to look this up. I don't want to get it wrong, and apologies if I do. But then he was at Abercrombie and Fitch, turned that around. He did Madewell, men's.
Wow.
He does a whole collection for Zara that's unbelievable, actually. And then he launched his own line, Aaron Levine.
Cool.
And he just randomly, right before the holidays, posted he dropped this travel skincare set on Huckberry, and I immediately ordered it.
Yeah.
Because I trust him.
Uh-huh.
I'm hooked.
I love Huckberry. That's one of these other
I have mixed feelings on Huckberry, man.
I
have like this is what I'm saying. Like we could talk. We could do like 5 different podcasts.
Yeah.
Like you want to do one on fashion. You want to do one on music. We haven't even tapped into Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like
so
what I'm doing currently.
One more thing on Duquette, and I think this is Club Duquette is whenever I say. This is kind of one of those things whenever this is how I feel when I talk to my friend Zion, because his name is Zion and his band is Zion Goins as well, so it's kind of confusing. But anyways,
I know Zion.
One thing about Club Duquette is I look back and me and Caleb, my best friend who we used to, and Christian, we used to go in there all the time. We talk about this sometimes, but back in 2016, like the first time I ever went in there, it was like, custom candles with Great Bear, and then you were burning palosanto.
Yep.
You had nice denim.
Yep.
You were selling Young Maven. I don't know if you were selling Young Maven then, but like well done, like let's see, thoughtfully sourced clothing.
Very curated.
And it's like 2026 now, and you go into like we have like all 3 of us have traveled across the world now. Every cool place we go to in any city. They're like
trying to do what we do.
They're doing the same thing that you were doing 10 years ago, what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So, I guess like one of the things I want to transition into, I think what you're doing now is also one of those things that in 10 years I'll look back and be like, holy cow, Duquette was onto something. Like, so I want to transition to that, but also like, where did you even figure out about, like, how did you find out about this kind of stuff? And how were you so ahead of the curve? And then also like, what's your litmus test for trying to figure out where quality is? And how does that kind of lead you into what you do now?
My biggest litmus test is the people.
Okay.
And the relationships with the people. Who's the people behind the brand? Who is it? What are they doing? What's their, like, do I connect with them? Will I use it? Everything that was in Club Duquette was there because we either made it, used it, wore it, whatever. It was part of our life. I turned down stuff constantly. Because I was like, I'm sorry, it's not, I have no connection to it. I don't think I would wear this every day. I don't think I would use it. I sold Ursa Major because I used Ursa Major every single day for my skincare. Wow. I used to write about my search for skincare for men on my Tumblr, Rugged and Fancy Tumblr page, right?
Look it up.
Look, oh my gosh, I don't think it's there anymore. But
Does Tumblr exist still?
yes, Tumblr still
think
exists.
so.
Tumblr's great, man.
I didn't expect you to be such a.
Get back on it, man. Get back on it.
The only good
You and
social
Frank
media.
Ocean are the only two people on Tumblr
Hey,
still.
if I could hang out with Frank Ocean on Tumblr, I'm down.
You'll take that.
I'll take it. But no, it was, man, I got into fashion in high school when I went to Baylor because you had to wear a coat and a tie.
Yeah.
J. Crew had just launched. So I started going to J. Crew and getting, and my mom was in retail when I was younger. She had owned a couple of stores. But like J. Crew got me into like chinos, ties, Oxford cloth shirts. And then our band, we were fashion heads. Like we had rules about how you could dress. You couldn't wear open-toed shoes, and I still have that rule. I'd rather you be barefoot than wear sandals or flip-flops. It's not allowed. We had a no shorts rule.
You're not a fan of flip flops.
Not on stage.
All right. Oh, okay. On stage.
And if you're going to wear them,
That's a good word.
here's a hot tip. Guys, summer will be coming. Get a pedicure. Like, there's nothing wrong. Go get your toes trimmed. I see so many nasty toes at the pool in the summer. Like, just please. Go get a pedicure if you're going to wear flip-flops or just in general in the summer. So I always had I was always into it. And then my wife really taught me about quality stuff because she grew up in a cutting, and her grandfather's sewing factory in Cullman was 36,000 square feet.
Wow.
And they manufactured all the knitwear for Barney's, Calvin Klein, Anna Sui, Donna Karan.
Wow.
They did contract work for Russell Mills.
Oh, come on.
Like we were
Gosh, dude.
see, people don't even understand my wife's like.
I feel like we need to give Morgan credit right now. You also haven't been saying her name this whole time, so
Yes,
I'm
it's
sorry if
Morgan.
I just outed you. And
No,
you were
no, no,
trying to
no.
stay
Say her
secret.
name. No, not
Okay.
secret at all. My wife's name is Morgan Johnston. Her website is ruggedandfancy.com. She is a brilliant artist, intuitive mentor. She is pure magic, man.
One of the coolest things that in my personal experience, being friends with Morgan, is she's one of those people that when you have a conversation with her, it's no nonsense. Like she makes you, and I love people like that. She makes you, she makes you be thoughtful. And I think one of the metrics that me and Myers talk about this a lot, but one of the metrics that I am probably the most harsh on, I have like no patience when people don't practice this, is thoughtfulness. Like I think when you go into a restaurant, you go into a coffee shop, you go into a retail store, you go into fill in the blank. If anybody has a business that's not thoughtful, I'm like, why are you doing it? Like, why are you, like, what are we here for? Is my first question.
Yeah.
And I feel like Morgan is one of those people that you can't glance over when you talk about this kind of thing. It's because she is like so good. I remember you kind of just like, gave me deja vu a little bit talking about the Russell thing. But in college, whenever I was working at Caveat, one of the guys who used to be over the Russell plant in Alex City before they went to Mexico or wherever they went.
Yep.
He was like a customer, and I remember talking to Morgan about that way back in the day, and that was when she told me that her family had worked with him before, and I had no idea how big of a thing Russell was. I didn't know that it was based in Alabama until like that season of my life, and no one freaking knows that, and it's crazy. Like Spalding, like literally every basketball that was used in the NBA for like decades was made in Alabama at the same factory. That was just part of their company.
There's
just crazy.
not enough people.
They produced every jersey in the NFL for like years.
Dude, growing up, you wore everything was Russell, right? All your athletic stuff was Russell. Like that was it. And then her grandfather was the other guy. He had 3 factories in Alabama, but he did contract work for them. And even though they were competitors, and then like last February we were in Paris, the whole family, and doing some sourcing stuff and having some time off and taking our kid there. And we have sources for things over there that we go to, people we go to, like, but then we were in this one at Flea and hitting all these stalls, and we go in and the guy has a stack of thermals, and the tag, it says sportswear. And there's a certain tag from that period.
Yeah.
That was made in her grandfather's factory.
No
that
way.
entire stack. And she got to share with this guy, and he was just sitting there like,
Qu'est-ce que
What?
c'est?
Yeah, and so she bought one and brought it home and wears it all the time. But
Yeah.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
she's like, my wife teaches me daily, man. Like, it is unbelievable. Like, I'm a very lucky, fortunate man. You know what I mean? Like, I really am. Like, we are a true partnership.
Mm-hmm.
We love hard. We fight hard. We like, it's, you know, we really don't fight that much. Like, I mean, I'm sure I annoy the hell out of her at times, but
Yeah.
like she's a big part of like why I got into like that quality of stuff. But it's just what we were into, man. We loved collecting and curating and looking for things and quality things. And but there was a rule at Club Duquette: if we would not personally wear it, and it didn't sell in our shop.
Yeah.
You also made custom clothes, didn't you?
Yeah. So we still make bandanas, T-shirts. Like, we haven't done that in a while, but the bandanas has been the only thing. Hey, what? You're leading to this. This is a great setup. One of my favorite shirts ever is the tennis shirt.
Definitely the best shirt you
Gotta
ever
be
made,
the
right?
best ever.
I don't know, man.
If you
like,
remake that, because that's my old one.
This
I
is
actually-
Steven's
fit
shirt
me
I
anymore.
stole from him.
I actually had gifts for y'all, but I left them at the house because I believe anytime you go somewhere, you should take a gift, even if it's something really small. It's just it's
Good word.
But I'll bring it back to y'all. Like, always take a gift when you are the guest, and I am the guest here. So the intention was, and it's connected to tennis, but it's a bandana we did.
Yeah.
That I don't think either one of y'all probably own. It was a Wear Heads Volley. It was our Grateful Dead bandana.
Oh no,
It's
I don't think I ever bought a bandana.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like that's one of the biggest things. We still do bandanas, but I took last year. I had to take a break from everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, we made stuff, and we had a leather bag that was cut and sewn by Alan Slattery that used to have a place called Dreamer Supply Co. They are still online, and they now make all their own bags. But he used to cut and sew our leather bag in Woodlawn.
Wow.
Yeah, so it
That's
was
so
made
cool.
right down the street. All the leather was from the U.S., cut and sewn within, 2 football fields from our shop.
Yeah.
The bandanas, the fabrics depended. We aren't buying blanks. We're buying bolts of fabric, and they're being cut and sewn. My buddy that makes them for us, I connected him to different sources, and I connected him to a factory, and then he had a fabric source, and look, there's times where I'm still a gatekeeper. Like, we had connection, we had connections to a high level designer that connected us to a fabric source, and so sometimes the bandanas were organic Japanese cotton. Other times it was Chinese, because nobody right now in the States, I can't get the fabric I want.
Yeah.
No one's milling a fabric up to the standard. But yeah, we made a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my friends who are creative, they kind of get in their own way a lot.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to like trying to make a living from their art. What would you say to like younger people our age who want to make art for a living but feel like they're, adulterating it somehow by making money from it?
Oh man, what do you want? Like, do you want to be beholden to somebody else, like, that grinds you to a pulp every day? Or like, and sometimes you still need to do both right now, right? I know artists that are on major labels that work at an Amazon warehouse. Like, it's not like making money in music does not happen like it used to. But look, this is a mindset issue, man. It's a relationship issues with money. Like, you want to make art. If you're making money, then you can make more art. It is okay. You can do small things. You can do really expensive things. It just depends on the lane you want to be in. It comes from a whole lot of self-awareness and a whole lot of self-exploration to know like what you really want to do. But there's nothing wrong with making money from your art. Now, what you do with your money afterwards is when like the really like that's
Rubber
when,
hits the road.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was actually looking for that. I was like, wait, I'm about to say it wrong. But that's when the rubber hits the road. Like, what are you going to do with that money? Are you going to be a good steward of it? Are you going to take care of people? Or are you going to go like, I don't know, you got to do your path. But like, I think that it is very possible. And like, let's break down numbers. Mac DeMarco used to talk about this, and then even Killer Mike has broken down numbers about this stuff. And you have 1,000 diehard fans, right? I'm talking all in. They love you. They open every email. They open every text. If they spend $100 a year with you, I don't know what your cost of goods are, but if you can get it to where your cost of goods or whatever you're offering are low, you're making a really good living.
Right.
Like, unless you're married and have kids, then you need to make way more.
I mean, might need 2,000 fans.
They
or
just
5.
they just increased the poverty line from 30,000 to, like, for a family of 4, it's 120,000.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
By the way, that's how expensive America is. But yeah, there's get out of your way. Like, there's most creatives are our own worst enemies. Because we have fear. We have fear of judgment. We have fear of what if it doesn't work out. Like, all sorts of issues. But, like, I want to, if I could, I would still do more than, I mean, I do a lot of different things right now, you know, like, and I love all of them. I'm really fortunate that I get to run in all these different worlds, from the street to the C-suite, whatever you want to, like, tagline you want to throw in there. But it's taken me, all my experience and all my failures are what allowed me to be in the rooms I'm in now.
Yeah.
If I had not done all that and not tried to make money on my own thing and not gone after my own thing, and I have, like, I've never wanted to work a job and be miserable. I've watched too many people do it.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that my father was like, be your own man. And what he meant by that was, like, chart your own path.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. When I called him and told him I was dropping out of college, the only thing he was pissed about was that I didn't do it the day before so he could get a refund. You know, like, I missed the cutoff.
Yeah.
And he had paid for that semester. I paid for everything else, like my rent and everything else. And he was like, well, you're on your own. Wish you had got me a refund. But if you're going to do it, do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Go after it. Work your butt off. I do not believe in hustler culture. I think now there's technology that exists that artists and small businesses and individuals can use to work smarter and not harder. You do not have to grind 45 hours a day. I know there's only 24 hours in a day, but you, like, there's a business guy that I talked to here in town who runs a large organization, and he was like, well, when I first started my business, I never slept, and I did this and I did that. And I'm like, and that's why businesses fail, and that's why people get divorced, and that's why you don't have small businesses anymore. We have to change that.
Yeah.
You know, yes, it's hard. Yes, you have to put in a ton of work. It is not easy. But if you work smart and create good systems,
Right.
and pay attention to your money and know the numbers and know the inside and out, it is doable.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, there's grandpas on TikTok right now making 6 figures.
Yeah.
Posting silly videos. Like, there's so many different paths and ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and even with artists and musicians, like, there's not one direct way to do it. It used to be that way, but now that doesn't exist. The internet, you can open your phone and you have access to the world.
Yeah.
You can take this video, and when it's on YouTube, the entire world can watch it if they have access to it.
They will.
And they will. I love that, Steve. But, like, you know what I mean? But, like, think about that.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm also just a little stubborn and, like,
Yeah.
I know the type of life I want to live. I want to be able to pick my kid up from school. I want to be able to have time with my family. I mean, there was a while where my rule was if it was longer than 2 weeks, my family would tour with me.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, like, that's how it was.
I mean, I think we're kind of flirting with, like, this past season of life that you've been in with Woodlawn United.
Mm-hmm.
Will you talk about that? Like, how did you even come
Can I
across
run
it?
somewhere and come right back?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
totally do that. See, one of my favorite things about this conversation so far, Myers, has been this perspective that you and I didn't meet until all of this stuff in Woodlawn closed.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty nuts for you.
I went to Woodlawn Cycle Cafe.
How many
And
times? Like, surely not that many.
Two,
Okay.
3, not many times. And then I went to Great Bear Wax Co. maybe once or twice.
Like, when it wasn't in Duquette, when it was across the
When
street.
it's across the street. So I remember having a conversation with Jake Carnley I just went in there by myself one time. So for context, this was like a candle company that also had like soaps and different kind of scented things. And I remember talking to him. I don't even remember what we talked about, but we talked for a while.
Yeah.
And it's funny now. I don't know if I've ever reconnected with him and told him that, because now I'm like close with his brother's family, especially. But
Saw Jake this morning.
we're friends enough that I like say hey to him. I don't know if he actually remembers that at all. But I never went into Duquette. Like I have this shirt because I stole it from you, or you gave it to me, or whatever the
Something.
circumstance was. But I never went into Club Duquette.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think it's crazy that it was like an era. Like it was like everything closed overnight, it seemed. In
Woodlawn?
Yeah, post-COVID. Yeah, we were talking about how Myers never really got to experience it because, so context on Myers and I friendship. I graduated college during the pandemic. Myers was 2 years younger than me, and then my first year post grad, whenever I was up in Gardendale working at Peacock Insurance, me and Myers became friends. Just because we knew each other from college, and all my friends moved to Colorado, and I was like kind of in this weird in between state. And we became friends kind of in the death of that whole area. And by death, I mean Club Duquette, Woodlawn Cycle Cafe.
Yeah, Woodlawn's very much alive, but they're businesses that went under.
Bungalow. So it is kind of crazy, but you've been a part of that new wave of what's going on over there. Talk to us about that.
Well, I mean, I never wanted to leave Woodlawn.
Yeah.
Even when I closed the shop, I didn't want to leave. That was like a really difficult decision. But I knew at this season of my life I needed to do it, but that I would not be gone from Woodlawn, right? I love that community. I love the residents. I love people that own the businesses that have been there for a long time, that never close, that people don't know and don't give credit to, like Bales Catering and Imperial Former Wear and, you know, just everyday blue collar places that are over there. Like there's places that have been there, Audio State, for decades. They're not, some of them aren't like the sexy businesses, you know.
Is it Guin Plumbing or something?
Guin sold
Okay.
their property. They're still in business, but they moved, but they sold their property to a developer, and that is now like Guin Industrial Park. Okay. I love that he left the van.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm like, please don't take the van. So it's Guin Industrial Park, and he has it fully leased out. He's fixed up the buildings.
That's awesome.
Like it is,
I didn't know that.
You know, the H2O Foundation is right there. It's a great organization that helps people pay their water bills. You can, like, when you get your water bill, you can.
I got a question with this.
Yeah.
I got on to pay my bill yesterday.
Uh-huh.
They rebranded Birmingham Waterworks to Central Alabama Water. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, that's a whole other. Do you not know about all the controversy with all that?
No, I'm assuming there is, and I know that you would know it because you're like government vibes.
Yeah, I have way too much involvement with government stuff. That's a different conversation where you like. We'll have to talk.
That's
about
too much.
about it
That's
later.
too much
Yeah,
lore
sorry.
for the podcast.
that's.
Also, the rebrand sucks.
Yeah.
That was like as a person who's.
I would love to know how much they spent on the rebrand, though. That's what kills me.
If they spent $1 on it, that would they could have made that on ChatGPT.
Companies spend money. I had someone tell me like they were doing a relaunch of something. This is current.
Okay.
Spent almost $50,000 on it in the website, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah, I bet UAB paid $1 billion for somebody to turn their A not italicized, just straight up an A when they rebranded.
For a website, I can build a website in my sleep.
Yeah.
ChatGPT can build you a website. Like, what are we freaking doing? Anyways,
yeah. I stopped a business owner from Woodlawn from trying to save $20,000 to build a website. I was like, "Stop! I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'll walk you through it. You can do it yourself. You do not need that much money." Their new website is great. But so, what were we talking?
You're talking about H2O.
And also just like what you do.
So when when I decided to close the brick and mortar, there was a few things at play. I think if I'd been able to buy my building, I maybe would have stayed. But for 2 years, we were the only business on the block, on that corner.
Yeah.
You know, you had people really putting a ton of time and effort over there, but like there came a point where I needed to do something different. And I had hoped that when I closed, it would maybe light a fire, not in Woodlawn, but in the city for what small businesses actually fight and go through. And my intention was to just come back and buy a building in Woodlawn and open again one day. But I needed to change. I needed to revamp things. And Mashonda, who's the executive director of Woodlawn United, and I had been talking through this whole period about how I could stay involved in Woodlawn, how I could do activations, how I could curate events, how I could still be a part of the community, because that community has taught me. Like, one of the elders and matriarchs, Miss King, has taught me more about being a parent maybe than anyone I know. And I would not have met her had I not opened a store in Woodlawn.
Yeah.
Mashonda, Maisha Hutchinson, who's the chief of staff for Daryl LeQuinn, like all these people have taught me.
Yeah.
All these people that are my closest friends in the world. So I felt very deeply connected. And they needed help with some small businesses. I'd attended Woodlawn United as part of a national network called Purpose Built Communities.
Okay.
So it's a network around the country that does place-based neighborhood revitalization.
Cool.
So working within communities to build from within, right? There's decisions are not made without community involvement. They focus on education, community wellness, affordable housing, and economic vitality.
Yeah.
And all those components in my mind and everybody's, they all intersect. You can't have one without the other. But I come from the background of small business. I've helped develop brands. I've done fundraising for brands. I'm on the Alabama Appleseed board, the nonprofit that does criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
So I know about I help with fundraising things. I mean, my life, like, this is what I say, like, literally everything I've done and tried and failed, and there's been so many successes. I've built this toolbox, right?
Yeah.
And so they brought me on board at first to help with small businesses, to try and just be a free resource. So Woodlawn United paid me at first to go in and help some small businesses, and I would audit them. And when I say audit, get to know them.
Yeah.
Are you having a financial issue? Are you having an operational issue? Are you having a marketing issue? Do you not know how to develop a brand? Do you need restructuring? Do you need an attorney? What are you missing?
Yeah.
How can I help? And making it specific to them, because every business is completely different.
Yeah.
But also figuring out what is best for the business owner. A lot of people are pushing all these like things on small businesses, like accelerators and cohorts, but like not every business owner, is that going to be healthy for them?
Sure.
Or can they do it? So this was a way for Woodlawn United to support the small businesses in their community within their footprint, and it not cost the business anything. And then that role turned into being the director of economic vitality.
Oh, cool.
With them. So I've been doing that a year. And the first thing I was asked to do was a grocery store feasibility study to bring a grocery store to Woodlawn. So we've been working on that for the last year. We'll be announcing some stuff around that soon. And still supporting small businesses, building relationships with every stakeholder, every property owner, like seeing what they're doing, meeting with landlords, working on recruiting businesses.
Yeah.
It started off as one thing and developed into something much larger.
That's so cool.
And I love that community.
Yeah.
And they really, this is why I said you need to have Mashonda on.
Yeah, we're going to.
She's been in that role. She's been the executive director for 6 years, been there 14 years. It's a 15-year-old organization.
Wow.
They build houses. They helped create I3 Charter School. They manage 70 partnerships. They hire community builders from within every neighborhood
that
they work in. So the neighborhood has input if they want input.
Yeah.
You got to show up. You got to say stuff. I spent months working on bringing PNC mobile banking to Woodlawn. They are now there every other Thursday. So if you bank with PNC, right by Social Venture across from the Woodlawn Marketplace, every other Thursday from 1 to 3, the PNC mobile banking truck is there now.
Sweet.
Where people can come learn. We will announce soon. We'll start hosting financial education classes, literacy classes, stuff around home ownership. They do critical repair. The amount of critical repair. Joe Ayers, the chief community development officer, and his team. I mean, it's just unreal. Like, it is an incredibly strong organization and a role model for what can be done across not only the city but the state. And every neighborhood's different. Rural areas have their own issues. This is why, like, place-based, building from within. How can you find the strengths from within the community that exist and amplify them? How can you create opportunities and pathways to get capital into underserved communities? And how do you bring people out of generational poverty, right? Home ownership is a great way of doing that. Well, you got to have people that can afford homes. Well, you also have to have healthy people. That's why a grocery store is a huge priority.
Yeah.
You have healthy students can learn.
Yeah.
You have healthy adults, they can work jobs. You have people that have jobs. If you can create workforce and jobs, then people can afford to own homes. They work on a ton of policy, right? Where, like, with I-3, they changed it in the State House so residents within the zip code of Woodlawn in certain areas get top priority at the school so that people from, like, super far away aren't coming in and taking up the spots.
Yeah.
And they didn't create the school to buck the system. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but it was like, okay, the residents want more options.
Yeah.
We need quality education, public, private. Let's figure it out. That's what the community wanted. They just had, and so I don't know if you've been to I-3.
Yeah. I've never been inside, but I've seen it. It's beautiful.
Where they sit. I mean, we just last year, I forget that it's 2026, man.
Yeah.
They did 4 new houses
Yeah.
in that area. There's way more than that, by the way. This is just like the newest thing. But they were using a new, working with a new partner so that the walls were made off-site. So when they come to the site, it's not prefab, but they're done off-site and come and assemble faster.
It makes sense because Grace and I, every time we drive to the airport, we drive through that neighborhood. And we're like, oh, it's a new house. Like, they happen so fast.
That's Woodlawn United, right? And there's different price levels. Like, part of the purpose-built model is you can't concentrate poverty. When you concentrate poverty, you do not solve problems. You create more problems.
Right.
When people are desperate, what do? Desperate things. Right now, there's tons of conversations about there's drugs flooding into our country and there's crime on the streets. Well, how do you want to fix that? It's not, no one's forcing the drugs into these communities for no reason. The demand is here. Well, why is the demand here? When you are desperate, when you have no hope, when you have no pathway to education, when you don't know if you're going to have a house or your parents are going to have a house, what are you going to do? What are you more likely to do?
Yeah.
Like, not everyone can just pull themselves up by the bootstraps and go do something. That's a load of crap.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, every dollar that is spent on, like, fighting some, I don't want to get off on a political tangent, but everything is political because policy affects everyone and politics affects everyone, whether they realize it or not. It's a very privileged thing to say, well, I don't do politics. You do.
Yeah.
You getting a red light in the state of Alabama or in the city of Birmingham is a policy decision. Alabama has home rule, so they can't change things in Birmingham without going through the state legislator. It's policy. It does affect you whether you believe it or not, right? Well, so, like, if we invested heavily on blight remediation, on improving sidewalks, on improving infrastructure, on improving walkability, on improving access to education and affordable housing, and giving pathways and opportunities for people that they normally would not have, I guarantee you crime would go down. I bet you heavy drug use and addiction would go down. If you spent money on mental health care and mindset, I mean, this is generational.
I was going to say, I feel like that's like one of the things that it comes down to is like people don't have a sense of hope for the future because they don't understand.
If you never see it, how can you have hope for
you
it,
don't.
Right?
You have your own self-imposed ceilings within your own mind.
If you grow up and all you see is blight, and if you grow up and all you see is extraction of capital from your community. Like,
What is blight?
blight is rundown buildings, rundown houses, like overgrown lots, properties, boarded up buildings, all this stuff, right? And there's a ton of laws of what you can do. The city right now is working on part of their agenda for legislative for 2026 is speeding up the process in which to get properties out of absentee landlords that have been abandoned and sitting and are blighted, and getting them into a community land trust to create opportunity and access to get them into people's hands that'll do something with them, not just developers. And like Woodlawn United controls over 100 parcels, and there's a reason for that. A lot of people are like, why do they have all this stuff? In Eastlake and in Atlanta, when the Eastlake Foundation was started, it's a purpose-built network. One of I think it's the very first. They just celebrated, I think, 30 years. They did not get site control. So as they started to revitalize certain things, properties that were 10 grand, suddenly were going for 200 grand.
Yeah.
Guess what happens then? The people that have lived there and been there for generations get displaced.
Yeah.
So how do you prevent displacement? You get site control. You mix in levels of housing cost.
Yeah.
Right? So you have market rate, you have affordable, you have rent capped.
Yeah.
You work on policy changes with organizations like Navigate Birmingham to where you can use your housing vouchers as access as for a down payment towards owning a home. So you get people out of public housing and dependent on that into ownership.
Yeah.
Ownership, that builds equity if you don't pass it down. I mean, part of the critical repair program, people have to come in and make sure they have a will, they do things, they do classes. It's just, it's not willy-nilly.
Yeah.
It's all very intentional.
Yeah.
And deeply thought out.
Yeah, I mean, Myers literally got a Birmingham, I don't know what to call it, like your...
David Russell.
Yeah, your loan officer.
My mortgage.
Yeah.
David at the Port Authority?
Yeah, we had him on the podcast a while back. I thought that's what you were referencing.
I love David.
No, I got like a mortgage deal that was basically one of those. It was like a zero down.
Yeah.
Because of where you live over here in Avondale, Forest Park sort of area.
I mean, there's imagine families that have not been able to own and they just rent. And this is just a theory I had years ago. I lived in Southeast Lake for 16 years. And seeing kids grow up that the older they got, the more problems started to develop. They were constantly having to move house to house to house because the landlord would raise rent or kick this, that. Like, if you can't anchor, if you feel no ownership, how are you going to take care of your community?
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard, and it's the same with small businesses. Like, I really encourage, if you can, small businesses to own their properties.
Yeah.
That, like, economically, like you studied economics besides minoring in music, production, recording, whatever you were doing. Like, if you own your property, the old school model in retail, I'll just use brick and mortar retail, men's shop, let's say. The old school model for clothing stores was you own the building, your day-to-day sales was how you lived, and your building was your retirement.
Right.
And then you also have an asset to tap into for growth if you need it. Right. You have an asset to lean on. Same goes for residential housing.
Yeah.
Like, you're in it long enough, it gets passed down. If the kids know how to do it, like, they can take it over, they can sell it for a profit. It starts building. Same in the small business realm. I think if we had more small businesses owning in our communities, you would see less small businesses closing.
Yeah.
And more people staying put.
Yeah.
Because rent's always going to go up unless it just happens to be a really cool landlord that is like, nah, I'm good. Like, I've made enough.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy thing about money. We've talked a lot about money on this, but like, for certain entities, I'm like, how much is enough?
Yeah.
Like, how much more do you need?
Right.
Like, I'm not anti-profit at all. I love to make money.
Right.
Like, I do.
And grow your business, but then grow your business to hire more people, take care of more people, increase your responsibility, take care of those around you, not just to buy another boat.
Or like that's the funny thing is, like, somebody asked, like, if somebody asked me one time, This was pretty recently about, well, if you had this much, would you still stay in that apartment? I was like, yeah, probably so, because I love living in my apartment. I would maybe want to own it. But we have a really unique situation going on where we almost sort of have a little commune happening. It's not, but you know, one of my childhood friends and his wife own the house. They live on the top 2 floors. We live in the apartment on the bottom, and we have a shared garden.
That's awesome.
So it's really unique. But yeah, so I like now being involved in Woodlawn. Like that's why I took the last year. I started in August of 2024. Doing the small business strategy, and then started on economic vitality in January of last year, and I love it. I absolutely love what I'm getting to do.
Yeah.
And I love that community, and I love getting to share with other people and hopefully open their eyes to how things work and how things can be done, to be a little bit of a disruptor.
Yep.
There's times where I definitely ask for permission, so I make sure I don't, you know, step too far out of line on things. But like Woodlawn, Birmingham's wild the way it's chopped up. You know what I mean? All these like different communities that make up all these 99 neighborhoods make up a certain number of communities. I think it's 5 or 10. That's just ridiculous. I should know this. Dadgum. I'm going to get called out.
Yeah.
I'm on Reddit for this.
It's probably like north, east, west, central.
Well, like Woodlawn is a community, but within Woodlawn, there's East Avondale, which is right down here. It's crazy. Like where Cahaba Brewing is, that's East Avondale.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like where the new fabric shop is, that's East Avondale.
I always have trouble telling people where I live because like it's kind of Crestwood, kind of Avondale, kind of Forest Park.
I mean, this city is like uniquely tribal. It's like I feel like Atlanta's like similar, but like it is a unique thing. Like I feel like it's more broad in other cities. Whereas like you could say like, oh, I live in East Nashville, and it kind of means just everywhere east of the river.
Right.
But then like here, you have to live in like Forest Park.
Yeah.
But if you live in Avondale, then you're like, ooh.
Right.
Like, but if you live in Forest Park, you're like, oh. But it's like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like it's so.
It's literally just the same place.
Yeah. Like no one cares.
Yeah.
I think it's so like it's such a beautiful thing, and it's really easy to get excited about what you do, Duquette. Like thinking about Woodlawn being the first integrated community in the state, or the first integrated school system in the state, and then taking it now, literally, 60 years later, and you're part of a complete renovation or just like complete changing of perspective on the entire thing. It's very easy to get inspired by.
Well, people should. I mean, what they're trying to do is to like revitalize without displacement. That's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
It's like the hardest thing ever. No one's figured out how to do it yet.
No, but people are starting to. I mean, this is like the purpose-built model. A lot of people are trying to copy it now. And look, we sat at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York in November, hearing people say, talk about all these issues, and we need to form this and we need to form that. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the 3 executive directors from 3 incredible purpose-built communities going, this is everything y'all do. And they know that, and they're saying that. And to see a man that runs a impact investment fund. I don't know if they call it an impact investment fund, but their philanthropy arm of a mega, I'm talking stupid money, right? Global money, saying they can't give out $200. Like it's hard to find, and it's true. There's truth in this. It's hard to find people that can absorb enterprise capital. Well, guess what? Most of the purpose-built networks probably can absorb enterprise capital. Do you know what I mean by enterprise? I mean like $200 million up.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you were, these entities are set up, the ones that are really solid and have been around for a while, could deploy that capital immediately. They could
$200 million.
Yeah. Like let's say someone gave
Woodlawn United.
What would you? No one has, but that's what I want.
Let's just say someone did put $200 million into Woodlawn. What would that mean?
I can't speak for what Mashonda and them would say. Like this is my own Duquette Johnston thought. It does not represent the entity of Woodlawn United. But you could immediately create an endowment, right?
Okay.
You take $100 million of that and create an endowment, right? You know what your operating costs are. You know how much you need to generate, but that endowment goes into an investment that's generating profit every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So it's recurring money. I would take the other 100 million.
A ridiculous amount of freaking just like passive profit, by the way. If you had $100 million in an endowment.
Dude. Yes.
I imagine that would probably be like, I don't know this, but that might be larger than the entire operating budget just presently.
Oh, I don't know the operating budget, and I definitely can't talk about that on the air without approval. But no,
then you have another $100 million. What would you do with that?
That other $100 million, I would put to work immediately in programming and housing and commercial corridor development. That is so easily deployed.
I'm not going to say who this was, but I have a very personal friend who when he was looking to buy a house last year. He went to look at these houses by I-3, and he went at them, and they're beautiful houses. And he was above there was like a maximum salary you could have in order to buy the house.
Yes.
And he was above it, and so he couldn't buy the house. And he got so mad.
Why?
I want you to respond to this person because I know that he's going to listen to this podcast.
Then he can afford a different. Sorry, my son is calling me as we're saying. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to pick my kid up in a few minutes.
Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah, we can totally wrap.
No, I could keep talking to y'all forever. What do you want me to say to him?
Okay, so I think it's hard for some people to understand.
Yep.
And by some people, I mean most people in this city, it's hard for them to understand.
So that is set up for a reason.
Okay.
It's to get people out of renting that have been renting. There's a cap on certain houses because they are meant for a certain demographic of people. It's not meant for you. A lot of people, especially for better or worse, people get mad at me on Reddit, especially for white people. It is really hard for a lot of people to understand this is not for us or about us.
Yeah.
Right? This is about community that you've never been a part of.
Yeah.
So respect it, right? This is about trying to level up people. You have access to, there's a house probably 3 blocks away that he could buy, but there's certain ones set aside so we make sure.
Do you think that there's a gap in Birmingham's market in between?
Oh, certainly, but that's not just Birmingham.
Do you know what I mean?
That's everywhere. But
I feel like that's one of the interesting things about
without knowing how much your friend's making, and also some people, I'm like, the housing thing is crazy. Some people, just because you make a lot does not mean you need to go spend a lot.
Right. Yeah.
But also means you have the ability to get something else.
Yeah.
Some people have no ability to get something else. And no one for years has set aside properties for those people to have access to.
Yeah.
Let alone get approved for a loan to have a mortgage.
Yeah. I think that's so cool what y'all are doing. I think it's amazing that there's an opportunity that made my friend mad. Because otherwise, when would that have ever existed? Especially in a nice house.
Yeah.
You know? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then why not be glad that other people are going to be able to get into a house?
Yeah. Also,
why are you mad?
Let me last question. We'll begin our conclusion here. What's your dream with this whole thing?
With which whole thing? With Woodlawn or myself?
Yes.
All of it.
We literally have talked about how holistic it all is. What's the vision? What are you hoping for in all of it?
I hope that everything that I have ever done in my life can be used to help others not go through the hard parts that I went through. Mm-hmm. I hope that everything I have done can be of benefit for my community. I hope that everything I do in Woodlawn helps the residents of Woodlawn. I hope it helps the small business owners. I want to see it grow and thrive and people be able to walk down the street, get what they need, go play outside, educate their children, all the things that every human wants in life.
Yeah.
I think that everyone, dude, we're recording this at a time where people are getting more and more divided. We're recording this at a time where, everyone just watched someone shot and killed.
Yeah.
On social media. That's traumatic as fuck, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that it is. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
We all want to be able to take care of our families. We all want our children to be safe. We want to be able to feed our kids. We want to be able to take care of it. Like, I want everyone to eat.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be fed. I want everyone to have stable housing. And I think it's all possible. My hope is that I am just doing good for communities, for my city. I've always been about Birmingham.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, man. Every music video I've ever shot, except for one, in Birmingham. But because I'm not on American Idol, like, you know, I'm not going to get as much recognition. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If I was doing it for recognition, I would have quit a long time ago. Like, but my dream is that I am supporting change that levels up people's quality of life, my families. My dream is that I continue to be a creative individual, be a better father, be a better husband, and give back always. To take all my experience. I think that's why I am here on this planet in this time.
Yeah.
Is to test, try, fail, and share so that others don't have to.
That's it.
That's beautiful. Duquette, this was awesome.
This was.
Thanks, y'all. I'll come back anytime.
You will.
You better.
There you have it, folks. Thanks so much for listening. If you're wondering if there's more to Duquette, yes, there is.
This is part one of who knows how many.
Even after 2 hours and 26 minutes,
that might be the longest. That might be the longest podcast we've done.
Actually, yeah.
It didn't
Ella's
feel
is
like
definitely Ella's is definitely the longest, but this might be this. Well, maybe this one's longer than that. I can't
know.
remember. Either way,
Dude,
Duquette has a son that he needs to go grab from school. So thanks so much.
I literally
for
thought it
listening.
was like 2:00.
I mean, the time flew by for sure.
flew.
Hey, as they say in the furniture business,
Cheers.
cheers.